All right. Good evening. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Or has it been 6 months? 8 months? Think this is probably first or second time I probably streamed this year. I don't know. Who knows? Good evening, everyone. Good evening to another episode of the Midnight Run. It's been a minute. It's been a good minute. I came across a video earlier today. Matter of fact, let me pull it up here. I can find it. It might help if I actually share this screen, right? Your screen, entire screen, and then this, and then that. Be careful, sure, blah blah blah. Okay, okay. Here, sure. All right. Came across this video. They probably can't see it because my big ass head in the way. Just titled "Made the Pedestrian" on the master teacher responds to BTS video. It's a very important conversation about the effect of AI in the workforce. Um, does it scale? What happens to the displaced employees? Is capitalism scalable? Is AI scalable? Uh, Spoiler alert: the answer to both of those questions are hell no. But yeah, very important conversation between BGS and May the Alchemist. I haven't finished it. What has it been? Only 23 minutes. I actually think I went further and it just went back a little bit. Yeah. So I'm guessing that there was a conversation between BGS and May about tech and whatnot. I've only seen probably one third. So around an hour or so. I fast forward a little bit because uh conversation kind of got derailed into like COVID conspiracy theories. We don't really care for that conversation at all. But yeah, the AI conversation affects everyone. Um, so yeah, let's get into it.
survival, okay, and develop a culture.
I'm gonna go fast forward a little bit. I want to say around here.
They're going to have to be wired from the very beginning with AI and with the internet in their brains already. It's the only way you're going to actually merge with the infrastructure, which is what they're talking about already. But no, but the thing is, nobody really wants to hear it right now. The thing is, that's your only option.
So this is in reference to um, what happens when AI effectively takes all of the menial jobs, right? Not some, not a few, but all of them, right? So those uh, low-paying menial jobs, customer service, fast food, jobs like that, the jobs that pay at, below, or just above the poverty line. What happens when those jobs are effectively gone? Um, One solution that was thrown out there, of course, UBI, and then May's response is we can't have UBI because people will just be uh, dog shit, useless. In other words, they will no longer become productive members of society. And then May asks BGS, "What's his response?" And his response is basically, "You have to humans effectively have to transcend, right? So via augmented technology, right? And we're seeing this um, with Tesla, with Neuralink. So augmented technology is not science fiction anymore. Definitely not mainstream, and it's definitely in its very, very, very infancy. Uh, so will we have like the Matrix scenario or Johnny Mnemonic sort of scenario? Definitely not in the near future. but then again, who knows? I don't think people move that fast. Matter of fact, I know people don't move that fast, but you never know, right? We're in uncharted territory here. Um, so yeah, continue on from here. I think the COVID stuff comes up and distractions, then we'll just fast forward from there.
But they talk about uh, 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 human beings 2.0, right? Which is in an incubator with what is it, 20% more brain space, okay?
Designer
Because you only use
babies,
6% of your
artificial
brain, right?
wombs,
6% of
all
your
of that
brain matter
stuff. Yep.
because the rest of your brain matter actually runs your body, okay? What if you actually increase that your intelligence tenfold by adding more brain matter to your body, to the same body, and then inputting uh, nodes to actually attach you to the AI and the internet. This is what they were
Wow.
talking about, huh?
I just said wow. I wasn't expecting you to go science fiction. I was expecting you to say
You got
that
your
No,
camera,
maybe.
educated
no,
people.
the
You got your
movies
camera
talk
on.
about this. The movies talk about this, man.
Edu-
You've been paying attention to their subliminal message with the movies? Even the
Which
Matrix.
movie? Which
No,
movie?
all movies since the 80s. We can even go as far as the
no, no.
70s.
You you can go
Let's
back.
do
You can
the
go. You
80s.
can go back to the 50s. Okay. They've been talking about this since the 50s. Okay. What do you think the Matrix was about? What do you think the Terminator was about?
Yeah, I saw the machines and I saw all of that, but it was conflict with humans, you know? Humans was like, it's either us or you. It's a us or you. You talking about merging the two to survive. I'm like, ooh.
That
Mm.
the Matrix. What did they do? They merged the two, right?
Some scientists said there are nanoparticles in the jab.
See,
Uh,
Yes.
uh,
see, those conversations I don't care for.
On at the time, this was back in like 2020.
and stick them in your arm.
We'll
To
just fast
malaria, but
forward
things they're
past
resistant to
the
malaria. Okay.
COVID
I
stuff.
said that's just what I heard. I'm not.
I
I'm
know
not
the nano the nano
just laying there. And
out. This is your time to get what you want out. Okay.
Mm, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm gonna have to still do my presentation. But what I do want to say to AB and you is that y'all were not understanding. I was at the terrorist level, and y'all just did not want to hear me. That's all I was trying
What
to
does that mean at the terrorist level? Okay. Give us an overview of what the
do.
terrorist
You
level
know
is
what I
first.
mean? Y'all try
No,
to
I
say
don't.
I'm on the first floor
You're on the
and
fourth
I'm on the
floor.
fourth floor. No,
I
no, no.
I just gave you concept you hadn't even heard about.
I'm learning from you, like I
Was
always
I
she
do.
but
I
on what
learn from you.
floor?
but
She a
but
terrorist? What?
she the top the terrace, the top level. Okay.
right.
Looking down
Yo,
at us,
May,
right?
please
Looking.
don't make me call the cops on you, May. Please don't make me call the
What?
cops.
All of this.
Hmm.
I didn't even know what AI was until that young man, like I told you, I was working with. He shocked me into a whole new world. And that was less than a year ago. Okay. So I'm new. So I'm not talking about that part. The part I'm talking about, this terrorist
Hmm.
level, is I'm saying that AI needs to be embraced. And I'm saying it can be a crutch, it can be a bridge, or it can be a tool.
Oh, it
A-
can be. Okay.
But
Okay.
that's not
right.
learning. That's
Hold on,
dictating.
hold on.
Okay.
How will most people actually use it though, man?
Huh?
How will most people use it?
As a crutch.
Like, well, like 80% of them, right?
In
Especially
America. In
uh,
America.
any place in the world. Okay, they gonna use it. They're all human. They will all do the
The
same thing.
Chinese are not using it as a crutch. They're using it as a bridge to a higher
No,
level
the
and
thing
more
is,
development.
gotta remember, Chinese school system is very controlled. Okay,
Okay.
very controlled. They control for this kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, y'all were dragging me because I said that I believe that a lot of this stuff, part of our evolution, we're gonna have to evolve in what we value in education. And I'm standing on that at the
I
terrorist
agree with
level.
that.
Now that other stuff I'm in the basement, but this I'm
Okay.
standing on.
The thing is, the thing is, uh, you just learned about it, right? Okay, I was actually dealing with this during COVID with my grandson, and teachers like you trying to teach this stuff and they're trying to implement this stuff into an educational program, right? Okay, half that shit didn't work.
So BGS. So for background for background information or additional context, BGS comes at this from a child education level because he has a grandson, and yeah, I mean, kids should learn how to read and write. Me and BGS have had this conversation going on damn near 10 years. And I've always had that stance, right? Reading and writing, it's always important, but as far as like tools, whether you use it as a crutch or however you want to say it, uh, you should be using the tools, right? I mean, some people, I find that like the older generation, it's not geared at be just towards them specifically, but like the older generation has kind of like a just in case sort of learning mentality, and a newer generation, um, me specifically, uh, will have, or especially me, will have kind of like uh, damn, not just in case. What's the other one? Just in time. Jeez, I forgot a writer that wrote these two concepts, right? So just in case learning is basically you learn something, or you learn like the fundamentals, or you learn, let's take an example, right? So you learn the stuff as a Boy Scout, just in case if you need it, right? You get trapped out in the woods, you get kidnapped, you escape, zombie apocalypse, alien invasion type of stuff. Power goes out, never comes back on. Very valuable stuff. Now, of course, the information is valuable, but the overwhelming majority of people is just not going to go through that scenario. So, but there's still value in it, just in case that it happens. I am, for the most part, of the just in time. So I won't worry about surviving in the zombie apocalypse until a zombie apocalypse happens, right? Because I don't want to waste time in learning things that I'm not going to remember anyways, because I'm not going to use it, right? So your mind is kind of like use it or lose it sort of thing. So I could waste time learning the just in case stuff, but I'm not going to use it, and therefore I'm gonna forget it anyways. Same thing with a lot of as far as like education and stuff like that. And again, this is outside of child education. Um, because that's just a different sort of state. I'm talking about after the reading and writing and the addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division stuff, right? Outside of that, where you know how to read, you know how to write, air quotes, um, and you know how to do like basic arithmetic, and now you're just learning the tools that you will be using. Most likely, will be using in the workforce. So it'd be like the internet and a computer and the web browser and the Microsoft Office suite and the Google application suites, stuff like emails, stuff like that, right? So yeah, as far as well, it's not really just in case because those tools you pretty much guaranteed to use at some point in your life in this environment, this artificial environment, as he would say. Absolutely. Um, but like the just in case stuff, as far as what would be a good example? What would be a good example? Um, mental mathematics, maybe. I'm not talking about like the simple stuff like 1 plus 1. I'm talking about like learning your timetables up to like 12. Right? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, when you're on the job, you're going to be typing it into a spreadsheet. You have access to your phone, your watch, your smart glasses if you're wearing them, your earbuds. You don't even have to type it in. You could just say it out loud and you'll get an answer. Right. So the idea that you need to actually memorize this stuff, and I've had this position always that if you're not going to use it, don't don't bother memorizing it. Matter of fact, don't even bother learning it because again, it's just going to be knowledge in and knowledge out. And if you can easily reference something, then use like a notebook, Obsidian, Logseek, Rome Research, Notion, even. so you can easily reference it. And even and even now, Notebook LM is another one. I use that every single day. Like the $20 for the Gemini Pro, or is it premium subscription, where you get Notebook LM, you get access to Gemini Pro 2.5, um, Gemini Deep Research, Gems, Learn Your Way, which is a new feature. I think it's still in beta. Uh, it's well worth the $20, and the whole thing is basically Gemini will do the research. You store the research as a source. You can put that in Notebook LM. You can download your sources and use them in any other AI-based, agent-based workflows, online or offline. And you don't have to memorize in this stuff because the tools will document it for you. Now, of course, I'm always an advocate of storing an offline copy. I always advocate offline first. But yeah, these tools are invaluable. Even though they are cloud based and they're run by a corporation, they are free and open source offline solutions as well. But yeah, it's just my point is that we're at a point where you have to shift your meta in terms of how you consume information, how you store it, how you recall it, and even if you want to memorize it, right? So um I think Notebook LM has a flashcard feature. Could be wrong about that one. It's just a completely different way and a different workflow of just learning. Now, again, does it work for kids? I don't know. There are um, there are people out there just trying to work things out. I think there's a school out in Texas called the Alpha School. I forgot the name of it, where kids just basically on the computer, they do everything on the computer. It's self-paced. I wish I had something like that. As an advocate for self-study, self-paced learning. The kids, I think they were in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade ish, in that level, right? Um, so, and of course, that news story was. I'll put that. I may make a video about that. I don't really care about child education. I really don't. Because it's pretty much cut and dry with me. So we'll see if it works or not. Everything is unproven until it is proven. Same thing goes with the school system. Okay, continuing on.
I don't think that none of us are sophisticated enough as teachers to even teach it. Um, we're most of us are not technologically savvy. Most teachers.
Yes, yes. So
Okay, so we're the last ones that can be. It's gonna have to be experts that teach kids
How y'all
about
not
AI
technologically savvy?
because
because
most
they're old. They're old,
because
man.
no,
No, man,
I,
I'm talking about you.
no,
You
no, no,
know,
no.
you work the iPhone
Hey,
every
hey, hey, hey,
day.
hey, 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 hey. Calm
I'm,
down.
I'm, I'm playing around. My bad,
I
my
know, I
bad.
know. This is third time, okay?
I hate
Oh yeah, no,
distractions from an
May, I'm
important
sorry. Go
conversation.
ahead,
I
You
May.
really
I'm
sound
hate
like
that.
you
sorry.
in the parking lot, dude.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. He's not in Parker. I can tell that he's not.
Yeah, no, I'm chilling. I'm about to go to sleep. But no,
Okay.
No, May,
What?
go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
What?
to
You
cut
must
you
be
off.
Eric's cousin. You Eric's cousin.
No, I don't know.
See, now
But
the
anyway,
conversation is off the
Girl,
anyway,
bye.
rails.
yeah, I know. That's black women. They try to move the field. Okay.
I'm focused. I'm focused, BG. I'm focused. Focused.
In other words, I had to go through this with my grandson in 2020, right? Where they try
Yeah.
to implement this kind of crap. Okay. Most of this shit doesn't work. Okay. Had to remove all of that stuff. Go back to basics because they wasn't learning. He wasn't learning. Okay.
What does A stand for in AI?
Artificial.
Artificial.
It comes from the Latin word artifice, meaning
Yeah,
a trick.
artificial, artificial.
It comes from the Latin word artifice, meaning a trick or a deception.
Let's see, that's not important at all. It's just a term. That doesn't mean anything. And for this conversation, doesn't mean anything. Like to say artificial isn't real and all. No,
A human body can't exist on fake food. Artificial
And
means
we do.
fake.
Oh, also, just a clarification. Artificial intelligence is not only machine learning. I know that's where people have like the misconception. So, artificial intelligence is anything that mimics human behavior. So, we take a video game from the 60s. You talking about like a CPU? That is also artificial intelligence. No, it has not had machine learning. There hasn't been trained on I guess it would be kilobytes of data back then. Hasn't been trained on kilobytes of data. It hasn't gone through neural networks. It hasn't gone through several deep learning algorithms. It hasn't done that, but it is still under the artificial intelligence umbrella, because even though the algorithm is just basically kind of like a behavioral tree, right? So if user do this, then do that, it's still artificial intelligence because you are mimicking human behavior. Very important distinction. Artificial intelligence is the uppermost umbrella. Machine learning is under that umbrella. They are not one and the same. You cannot use them interchangeably. It's very important that people know that.
We exist on fake food all the time. That's not true.
Yeah, it's called
No, no,
processed food.
no. You can't. Yeah, you can exist. You're right. But you can't thrive.
Okay. Okay.
Then what you
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Do you live in a city?
Of course.
So yeah,
Okay.
we're going through
How
these.
much? How
I haven't seen this part, but I'm gonna guess that B just about to go into his artificial environment spiel, which is right. But this is just a distraction from the bigger conversation, the important conversation. But I'm gonna fast forward.
in large numbers? It's called crime. Okay. To
Right.
survive. Okay.
Crime,
Right.
yeah. Discriminator
Move it
between
on.
those men
Mm-hmm.
is a situation where you might I didn't even know whatever. But when they see other people around,
Uh
they
huh.
get amped up, their
Yeah.
ego.
Was in
No,
America. Okay.
Yeah,
No.
no,
You know what?
exactly.
You
No,
know what?
Pete, yes,
Hey,
I
hey.
you
Hey.
cooking,
no.
you
Why are you
cooking.
saying these dudes?
If you go to Nigeria, okay.
Save their
See,
life.
Now they do.
Even if the boyfriend,
Chip
and
yeah,
we're off the
winners says
rails,
thank you.
and she's
They
gone.
will throw their life away over a Keisha, bro. That's why I don't talk to women who date who
It was an
Purpose of
important
education
conversation.
now is coming down to the point we are obsolete.
I don't think they want their kids to be obsolete. I think in their heart
All
will
right, so
be
let's see.
actually developing his mind. Okay, not giving them the credit what they think they know. I went through this from all of 2020, 2021 with chip in
yeah,
their brain.
winners says thank you. They will throw their life away over a Keisha, bro. That's why I don't talk to women who date who have a
Hopefully,
husband
picks it up
or a
Okay.
from here.
boyfriend.
I
I don't. It's not worth it, bro.
I know this that we're way off topic. I know
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, my
we're
bad.
way
Oh,
off.
chaos. If you wanted to talk, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Hey,
My
hey,
bad, bro.
May, did you actually disconnect or what? Uh,
No, we way off
you said your
thread.
device is not connected.
Right?
So if you want to
Way
come
off
back up, you
thread.
can. Okay. But the thing is, the thing is, I actually want to do this because I actually want to answer her because I know what she thinks she knows. Okay. And I understand that from teachers, right? What they think they know. I went through this from all of 2020, 2021 with these teachers, man, trying to actually adapt to this technology, right? I know what it can do and I know what it can't do because I had to do this with my own grandson and my own grandsons, okay? And I seen it up close and personal what it can and cannot do. Had to take it from it, okay? Because you're actually supposed to be actually developing his mind, okay? Not giving him a crutch. This is a problem that they're having in
School
colleges,
system.
right? These kids are coming out and they can't work, they can't think, okay? Out of 4 years of colleges, okay? They can't find a job. Why? They can't think.
Yeah, they can't critically think at all. That
Well. That is not a new problem. That has been always been a problem because college does not prepare you for the workplace. College is more of a theoretical foundation that'll get you in the door. That's just asking for a college degree, but usually you don't get OJT while in college. That's what the internship is for, right? So you actually learn on the job. Hopefully, if you can get one, but you're not going to get like real life job skills on the job. So that's not a new problem. I agree with them, but you can't pin that on AI at all.
That's great. That's
It's
yeah.
the thing is, and you want to dump them down more? Why?
Because they want them to be obsolete. That's why the whole purpose of the education
I,
now is coming down to the point where you're obsolete.
I don't think they want their kids to be obsolete. I think in their heart of hearts they actually want these kids to develop. But I think they're going about it wrong. Okay, you can't lean into AI. That's actually a mistake. Okay,
Because
you can learn it as a tool, but things you got to develop your mind first, in my opinion. Okay, and talk about
That's
people that actually use this shit on a daily basis. Go ahead, that's it.
well, that's what because Neil deGrasse Tyson just did a show on this 4 days ago on
Yeah.
Star Talk.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody watched it, but they
No.
had one of the researchers from MIT who was
Mhm.
dealing with biometric interfaces,
So I didn't
non-invasive.
see it, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it
Hey,
tomorrow.
oh
dude,
Jesus
man, you
Christ,
kill
Damn.
Hey, hold
yourself.
on, man. Hold on. Hold
God
on.
damn, what's wrong with
Hey,
you?
hey,
No,
hey,
my
hey,
bad.
hey,
No, no,
hey,
no.
hey, hey, y'all calm
Oh,
down,
my bad,
okay?
my bad.
I
No,
got
I was just agreeing with
no,
him.
no, no.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
watch.
Let
Yeah,
let
my bad, my bad.
let the host take charge, okay? Let the
Yeah,
Has he
host
my
been?
do
fault,
this,
my
okay?
fault, my
You
fault.
been? You been drinking?
No, he's
Sound
excited.
like it.
He's excited. Go ahead. That's it.
Okay.
I'm a Neil deGrasse fan. I'm sorry.
Jesus,
I'm
man.
sorry. I apologize.
Do
I
I
apologize.
have to mute you, man, or what?
He's been drinking.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's it.
I'm going to be succinct here.
Okay.
watching the
The
point of the conversation
what the
getting
woman was
derailed.
talking about, she was talking about, okay,
All right,
basically, what AI does is that it reduces your cognitive load, and you need cognitive load in order to increase your mental abilities.
Right.
Without cognitive load, you've got nothing.
Yes.
And so, what they found out when we talk about cognitive atrophy and skill
Right.
atrophy,
Right.
what they found out is when doctors who are knowledgeable use AI, they began to atrophy in that skill set that is directly related to where the
Yes.
AI is entering.
Right.
And so, when you put this stuff on children
Yes.
who don't have anything to work with from the beginning,
Yeah.
they just don't develop.
They cripple. You cripple
They're
them. Yeah.
crippled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we've known that forever.
It's like giving a kid a wheelchair to get around, a scooter to get around with. They'll never learn to walk.
Exactly.
Right. If you don't use it,
You lose it.
You lose it.
yeah.
If you never develop it in the first place, you never have it.
But the
Exactly.
That's what we're
the
trying.
powers that be are more concerned. They love profits and they don't like the people.
well, I'll take myself as an example. Dead Set Anime is correct. That if you don't exercise that muscle, in a certain skill set, it will atrophy. Yes. I will say, since I've been using coding agents, it's been 2 years ish, maybe 2.5 ish. Whenever GPT 3.5 came out, or was it three? GPT 3. I don't know if it was probably early 2023 or midway 2023. I don't know. Um, whenever GPT 3.0 came out, um, I will say my intuition, right? So your intuition on syntax is pretty much blown. Don't ask me the code from memory. I mean, I know the syntax, but in terms of like stringing together like 20 lines off the top, those days are over. For me, they are. Um, at first, I was like, I feel awful because you put so much time into it. But the other things that get strengthened is your project organization, right? So how do you organize your project from a top level, right? So now you go from the mindset of, let's say, a junior or mid level size software developer, now to being a project lead or the software architect, right? You have to know everything about your application, from back to forward, right? There is no, if you have the tools and you know how to use the tools, and I'm assuming that if you know how to code, then you have the mental capacity to learn the tools. It's not hard. Um, but there is a learning curve. Yes, you have to know how your application works. There's no more of front end front end team, back end team. No, it's one person, front end, back end, communication layer, database layer, um, system design, DevOps, all of that stuff. Why? 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 Because one tool, if not one, probably two or three, enables you or empowers you to be able to do all of that. Right. So now you're just now if you're out in the wild and you just say, I'm just a front end developer, good luck with that. And if you're a back end developer, it is assumed, it's always been assumed that you know some semblance of front end. But, again, if you just say, well, I'm a back end developer, don't ask me to do anything front end. I don't use any coding agents. I don't believe in that stuff. I hate that stuff. I believe in doing things off the top. By the way, no one does everything off the top, right? Someone is using Stack Overflow, Google's, textbooks, whatever. There's always a reference. No one does everything off the top. I don't care how smart you are. Unless you're one of those one language savants, which again, good luck with that. So while yes, I have lost most of my intuition on um, doing things, coding things off the top of my head, I move, I don't know, probably 30 to 40 times faster using coding agents. Right now, I am using um, Claude Code. I am on their Max 200 subscription. So I use a coding agent for front end, coding agent for back end, or a sub agent for front end, sub agent for back end, sub agent for testing, sub agent for quality assurance, sub agent for Docker file creation, uh, sub agent. Matter of fact, Google just came out with the Google Chrome MCP server, so I got that connected. So I don't have to pull up Postman or Rest Assured or anything else like that. I don't have to do API testing outside of the IDE. I can do that just with the agent, with sub agents. That is so much more productive. Now, is that perfect? No, no, nothing is perfect. But this idea that the more tools that you have or the more assistance that you have, the dumber you get, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now the question, I think the real question is, how much value in 2025 is there in uh, memorizing X, Y, and or Z when you have one AI tools as kind of like a uh, kind of like your first source, first layer of tools. Then you have your notebooks, right, to store all your information in: Obsidian, Logseq, Rome Research, Notion, Evernote, all of these things. Again, right, the same argument I could make, well, the same argument BGS can make for AI tools, I can make against digital notebook or digital um, knowledge bases, whatever they call the personal knowledge base, personal knowledge management tools. That's the term. Jesus. What's above that? I'm missing a layer, but all of these tools are to make you more productive. It's not to get you to memorize more stuff. If you want to memorize more stuff, get a coding agent, make you get it to make you some flashcards, and then you can use something like OnKey on your cell phone, and then just review that for 2 to 3 hours a day. If it makes you feel better about memorizing things, sure. But I think part of maturing in the 21st century is to admit to yourself, in my opinion, is to admit to yourself that, hey, I don't need to memorize most things. I could just refer it. If it's not, if it's not in my notebook or notepad or whatever PKM I'm using, then I can use a bot, right? And if there's no internet, guess what? Bots still run offline, and I can still refer to my OneNote notes if I want to, or my Notion notes, because they have an offline feature, I get apparently now, or capacities, or again, whatever PKM you're using. So this idea that you're relying on these tools too much, so what? That's the one thing I want to. So what? You're using it as a crutch, okay? And what? I can make that exact same argument for electricity. Well, what happens if the power goes out and it never comes back on? What are you going to do? Are you a hunter? Are you going to hunt for your own food? I think I'll worry about again. I'll worry about the power going out when the power actually goes out, not what if scenarios. I am not a fan of just in case learning at all. It's a waste of time. And sure, let's say if you're into it and I'm going to learn how to hunt and grow my own food. But if you don't actually use it, you're wasting your time. And maybe you will use it, and that's fine. But it's not for everyone. I especially think for the upcoming generations, it's not going to be with it. Now, as far as I really got to pull up this clip. It's about child education, even though I don't really care. But there was a part in it that said, the 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 kids are only learning in front of a screen, right? They're not learning where a teacher is giving lectures, at least not in physical form, right? So the people that they have are they are there for more for encouragement, um, and not there to actually teach. They're there for encouragement, answer questions, but it's like low level stuff, right? It's not anything like in depth with the lectures. And so there's criticism on, of course, about this new way of schooling. Uh, both ways, right? It's a better model. Kids, we shouldn't have kids. And again, I don't care. I don't have a dog in this fight. Um, let's just give background context, right? Uh, Kids learning on their own, or maybe not on their own, but at their own pace. They're not being slowed down from the average student, so on and so forth. Okay, continuing on.
They
No,
they, they put
That's not
profits
it.
over
well,
people.
that is a completely different um, thing. Okay, we're talking
No,
about
A,
hey, hey,
yeah,
hey, 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 hey,
AI.
hey, hey, hey. Educating the kids and developing kids' minds is what we're talking about right now.
Right.
Profit and losses are two different things. Okay, than
Yeah,
what we're talking about.
But
and if
they're
you
you're saying
Well,
AI, right?
you,
Huh?
dude, just calm down for a second, okay?
I'm
Just let.
calm. What are you talking? I asked the question.
Hey,
How's that not calm?
all right, dude. One more time, okay? One more
look, you
time.
got to get out of
One more
this
time.
tinfoil hat
Why are you
stuff, dude,
threatening me?
because the government has a compelling interest in making sure that there is a basic level of education for its
Yes,
children, just
right.
so its country can run.
Compete, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So this nonsense about they don't want, this, that, and the third, that's just garbage. Because the only thing that's keeping AI from running rampant right now are those congressmen
Yeah,
and those
That's
senators.
facts.
yeah,
Facts.
it is. Basically, the only thing that's
I
keeping
don't.
self-driving cars from taking over trucks and transportation is Congress.
Exactly.
It's the only thing that's
Okay,
holding it back.
Yeah, they're the gatekeepers.
I guess I agree with that. I don't have or more. I don't have a reason to not agree with that. Um, sure.
No, since 2017, okay, uh, Congress actually held the liability portion of the bill. Okay, they
Hmm.
held it up since 2017. Okay, otherwise you have self-driving trucks and cars and all kind of shit.
Yeah, there's a regulatory limit put on this stuff that
Yes.
people just are ignoring completely.
One thing is important question be just once these
Hmm.
self-driving vehicles do become always like here now, where people could just jump on them, do people going to still have
And
the
we're off the rails
necessity to
again.
still drive
Oh,
themselves?
you got it for $5? Okay, cool. I got to get something. Okay, and papers of Colonel House. Okay, cool. I'll look for it.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
the,
yeah. You want
go
to
ahead.
repeat the question? I would say this: and once these trucks and cars are self-driving complete here in America, do
Hmm.
people still feel the necessity to still drive if they want to, or that option will be taken away?
Okay. Well,
It
come on.
depends on what city
No,
they
I
live
want
in.
him to speak.
Hey, stop. Come on. Hold on. No, the thing is, that's not our point. The thing is, what are you going to do with the people that have to drive for a
Right,
living? What are you going to do
right.
with
Exactly.
Facts.
Mhm.
them? Okay.
Wait,
Cab drivers, truck drivers, that kind of stuff. What are you going to do with them?
Right.
wait,
Oh, okay.
BGS. Can I ask That's the anime a question?
You sure can. Go ahead.
Wait, that's the anime. I'm kind of a weirdo and a nerd, and sometimes I watch.
Ask the question.
Oh, that's the anime. Do you work with AI specifically? Like, do you work with like a tech company or like some? Do you work in Silicon Valley with artificial intelligence, or did you like go to school for artificial intelligence or something? No, I was just curious because,
Yeah, let him
like,
answer
if
that. Let him answer
yeah,
your question. Okay.
go yeah, go ahead. That's that. My bad. Yeah, you can take the floor. My bad.
Oh well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, that the topic is interesting as
Oh
hell.
my
I
I know.
God,
literally
Yeah.
subscribe to MIT courseware. I
Mm,
watch all their
yeah,
lectures
yeah.
on like
Lord
artificial
Jesus.
intelligence. Go
We
ahead,
have
my
we
bad.
have literally been doing this
Well,
for
not
like the
all of
last.
them, but
They have literally been
some
following us
of
for
them.
the
Yeah,
last 10 years. Okay.
yeah,
Literally. Okay.
Okay.
yeah. No,
I,
BGS knows way more than me. Don't. Yeah, BGS is the he
oh
Okay.
my
knows
All right.
way
goodness.
more than me. I'm
What
just
what is
saying.
Okay.
going
Go
on
go ahead,
here?
Yeah,
Dead. Continue.
yeah. Go dead set. Go ahead, dead set. My bad.
No,
No what?
no, I don't work with AI.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. No, so you just know about the topic just because from reading about it or whatever, or
Well, I do the same thing that BGS do. I read.
oh shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, we he's
Okay,
using
yeah, no, y'all.
he
I thought you worked for Google or Microsoft or
no.
Oracle or
He just
something.
told you no. No, you don't have to. You can
Lockheed
find this out on
Martin or
your own.
something.
Yeah. You can find it out
Yeah.
on your own. Okay.
Oh
You
shit, no, go ahead. I'm muting up. Go ahead, my bad. I'm muting up. Yeah, I'm listening in the background. Go ahead, my bad.
okay.
Yeah, no,
Too
BGS,
much
you
too
the
much
goat. My bad,
anxiousness.
yo, my fault,
What
my fault,
Too
my
much
fault.
anxiousness.
what I'm trying to do
Too
No,
many people are too excited. Holy
Mace is
hell.
I'm trying to weave together a picture for you. Okay.
yeah,
So you actually see the whole picture. You know, the upsides and the downsides. I'm saying AI will not be useful. It will be. The thing is, it's also
It
dangerous.
is.
Musk said the exact same thing. You got to keep this shit on a leash.
well, yeah, BGS. Like I read
Oh
an
my gosh,
article
weren't you supposed
No,
to
no,
today.
mute up?
Oh, my bad.
let him finish. What's the question you wanted to ask? Okay, go
He's
ahead.
I was just going
excited.
to ask you, BGS, the article about that company that was doing AI research, and the AI started blackmailing the people that work for the company.
That was if you look it up.
Ye- Yeah,
I think it was Yahoo, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, it
I
was
think
one.
okay,
Yeah, I
but
seen it. It was
but
maybe it was early this morning. Yeah,
that's not the first one. But, a lot of these AIs actually going off the rails,
yeah.
right? They don't want to. They think that they're alive. Okay.
But I think in the
Hey,
recent one, he tried to kill the employee. Though
let me.
the AI
No,
tried to set up the employee to harm him
Jesus.
physically.
he didn't try to kill him. But the thing is, he wanted to
Well,
live. Okay.
yeah,
And
well,
I want
yeah.
to introduce him to Jalen.
actually locked the employee out of his own system. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Already
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
conversation.
No,
He
What you
needs
that's
to
said?
what I'm
What
meet
you
saying.
said,
The
May?
So
AI.
many people
Yeah.
clogging the lane. It's so
Okay.
You said for
important.
me?
Conversation is so
And I
important.
was
Okay.
saying
You
this
can
Wait,
go.
guy
My
he needs
bad.
hey,
to
come on, man. You got to
this guy
fall
needs to
back a little
meet
bit.
Jalen. That's all I was saying, Jalen.
Who is Jalen?
Jalen, he's hanging around. He's hanging around Black YouTube.
Who is he?
He's very similar personality. They would get along well. That's what I was saying.
Okay. We have no
Uh,
idea who Jalen is. Okay, you brought him
Y'all
in.
don't.
me
Yeah,
neither.
somebody know who Jalen is. They'll
We
take
ask
you,
you.
Jalen.
You know who Jalen is. Who is Jalen? Okay. What's
Yeah,
he do?
who's Johnny?
He claims he's the manosphere, but he's
So,
different.
is
Oh,
is
gee.
he a content creator or
Wow.
just a
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
commentator?
I
okay,
wouldn't
okay. We got to skip some more. Jeez. Usually for like long videos, I don't watch them anymore. I just download the transcripts and just have either Gemini or Cloud Code just say this is the topic that I want. Get all the pieces, all the relevant text, put that in the text file, and then I'll just I don't know create a podcast out of it using Vibe Voice because man,
In the background, but you cook me,
What
man.
are you
Keep going.
what are you smoking, man?
I'm not a bad sport, but
What are you smoking, man?
it's
Bro.
loud. I don't know what strand it is,
all
but
right,
my fault.
Thank you. That they're
moving
actually
along.
doing on these kids, okay? Everything that we're saying that we thought would happen is happening, okay? You
Okay,
can't give these young kids all this AI, okay? You have to actually develop their minds, otherwise it will actually not develop at all.
Yep.
Or why send them to school if you're going to do that? Doesn't make sense.
There's another danger here that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't talk about. And this
Mm-hmm.
is when, you know, how they use the example of the horse and buggy going to the after industrialization, going to the automobile.
Right.
What doesn't get talked about a lot is like take that transition from the horse and buggy to the automobile.
Right.
Mhm.
For the user, as well as the manufacturer, we had to there was an increase in complexity.
Hmm.
So therefore, the humans had to, rise up to that complexity cognitively in
Hmm.
order to make that system work.
Right.
So there was growth there.
Hmm.
And we find this even with computer generated art, whether you're rendering on paper, now you're going to CG, now it requires some technical skill
Right.
because now you got programming and now you need more mathematics to render images without the machine doing it by itself.
Hmm.
However, with AI, there is no labor replacing what is being taken away.
Right.
This is the problem that I have,
Hmm.
my biggest issue. So,
Well, well, we don't know that yet. We're still in the infancy, so we're still at the point. I guess if I had to compare it back to the horse versus the automobile argument, we're really at the point where people realize like, why do we need a car when we can have a horse? We don't need to drill for oil. All we got to do is feed the horses. We're at that point, right? So that cars are more um are more efficient in terms of travel time, but you don't know what jobs are going to come from that, right? You don't see the automobile factories yet. You don't know that's a thing. That's where we're at now. Whether he's right or wrong, I don't know. I don't know. We're not there yet. We're at the point where we recognize, okay, well, if you were going to be a digital artist, you could throw that idea into the trash. You've dedicated your life to being a 3D modeler. Sorry, that shit is dead. Sora 2, which is the number one app in the App Store, Apple App Store, I guess for like social media and stuff now. I don't know how when it's invite only, but whatever. Uh, my TikTok feed is full of Michael Jackson, deepfake Michael Jackson videos of him uh, going in the movie Back to the Future as a McDonald's employee, stealing KFC chicken, all kinds of weird shit. Uh, Goku versus Gojo, all kinds of stuff, right? So yes, anyone that remembers Sora version 1, the preview looked really good, but the execution when it was finally released was complete trash. Version 2 is so much better. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's so much better than version 1, right? And so who knows what Sora 3 is going to come with? Who knows what Sora 4 is going to come with? Who knows what Sora 5 is going to come with? And the open source and the competitors, commercial and open source competitors are going to come with. So yeah, we don't know what job is going to come from, right? It's still speculation at this point. Uh, you can upskill now in terms of is that scalable? Can everyone become a machine learning engineer? No, of course not. Um, can everyone be an AI engineer? Get into ML ops, LLM ops, DevOps, all of that stuff? No, not really scalable. That's not something that you can take like a 12-week course on. Well, actually, maybe DevOps you could. Maybe, maybe. You could definitely learn about cloud concepts within 12 weeks or 6 months or whatever it is. But no, specifically an AI/ML engineer, that is not like an OJT kind of a thing. Because there's so many things you have to learn. You're talking about building a model effectively from scratch, and by scratch I mean from scratch, not using PyTorch or JAX or TensorFlow. I'm talking about like actual like C or C++, or Python if you want to go that way with NumPy. Um, at least that's what WGU is offering, building a model from scratch. But anyways, yeah, no, that's not scalable. Now, if I had to speculate, do I think? I guess playing devil's advocate against myself. Uh, is there any jobs that can come from uh, AI replacement? As much as I want to say yes, probably no. Here's why. Because if you're talking about AI replacing like the meaning, I know I just said all of that and I came to the same conclusion that uh what the enemy guy came to. Anyways, but the reason why is because if you use an AI or a bot or an algorithm or even an AWS Lambda function to replace a job, right? And then yeah, well, you have to replace that with another. If that job is menial, that if the AI is replacing one job, but it uh, in that um, in that job that it's replacing, it creates another job or a family of jobs. If those jobs are menial, you can just automate those jobs. So the problem is that yeah, AI will create jobs, but they're not like entry level jobs because you could just use the bots to automate the entry level jobs if that makes any sense, right? So I don't know. If you're coming out of college, like here we are today. If you're coming out of college with a computer science degree, good luck finding a job as a junior developer. You may have a shot if you fill out, 2 or 3 thousand applications. You may, and this is outside of the internship because internships ain't gonna pay anything anyways. But good luck. And it seems like a mid-level developer is going to be like the new entry level, which is terrifying. I don't need to hire 10 junior developers for our mid-sized company that's creating our own in-house software when I can do it with two, maybe three. Um, and then like the third junior developer, he's kind of like a uh sort of like our do everything guy, right? He does the testing, he does the DevOps, um, he does like the cybersecurity stuff, right? So we'll pay him 125, but he's going to do a little bit of everything, right? So that's just the new reality. The kid staring to the screen. I don't know if I said this already, but the point of me bringing that up, the kids staring into the screen while they learn, and they're not getting lectures from teachers physically, is that they're staring at the screen, all day long, and that sucks. Yeah, that does suck, but that's the new reality, right? I mean, people faces are in the screen most of the day, anyways, and that's across all ages. Not everyone, of course, but that's just a new reality. That's a new meta. Moving along.
So what are we gaining?
Can you
What?
say that again? Can you say that one more time?
Okay.
There's no labor being taken. How can you say that?
Yes,
And
Say that
because
again?
with
there's no labor replacing in
the old
another
labor,
the old labor.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because the new labor usually require more cognitive load.
Yes.
So it takes more and it takes more systems to
And,
build
and,
a
and newer
single car.
newer skills, new labor skills, that kind of stuff,
Exactly.
right? But that's what AI does. Doesn't
AI
need.
doesn't do that. It
Yeah.
regresses.
It regress.
Well, again, I agree that it it's kind of yes and no. That yes, that you can't replace one menial job with another because you could just automate the menial job that gets replaced over and over and over. So yes, you can skill up, and that will take uh, considerable cognitive load, whether it's DevOps, cloud engineering, AI ML ops, LLM ops, AI ops. What else? DevSecOps, cybersecurity. Uh, what is it? GRC? I think that's the other section. What am I missing? Web developer, QA testing, manual testing. Um, now the thing is, people who are going to want to skill up, is there going to be an infrastructure for people to skill up cheaply or free? No, they're going to have to do it on their own, which they can for free. With YouTube University, library card, electronic resources. But if jobs are asking for a degree and you don't have one, and the job market has gotten a lot better, or the tech market has gotten a lot better with allowing people in that actually have the skills versus um, people that just have a degree and they don't necessarily have the on the job skills uh, per se. The downside of that of course, is that you have the degree. You've been told that you need the degree to get in the door. Now you have the degree, but you can't get the experience. You can't get the job because you don't have the experience. You can't get the experience because you don't have a job, right? So you kind of have to do that by yourself. Is there going to be, I don't know, something provided by the government where it's kind of like a pipeline for people to upskill into those jobs? Probably not. Probably not. Not to get too geopolitical with this crap, but probably not. So you're gonna have to do it on your own and hope for the best, right? You fill out your 1,000 to 2,000 applications. You're going to learn your leak code if you want to get into software engineering. I think probably DevOps is requiring leak code in the interviews now. I had one DevOps engineer tell me that, which is awful because you're not doing any of that crap in the day to day as a DevOps. And the off chance that you may be doing some sort of code correction or some sort of um, debugging with uh, Docker containers or Kubernetes pods or anything else like that. And you may have to pull open a Python script here and there, make corrections, maybe. But even then, you're not doing anything on the algorithm level. Of course, never say never, right? But leak code, and the reason why I make a big deal out of it because learning leak code for an interview is like it's very time consuming. It's not something that you can learn in like a 1 week seminar or something like that. It's just not a thing. But yeah, I don't. I agree with him that the menial jobs are getting replaced, and you can't. And again, you can't replace one menial job with another because that'll just get automated, right? The point of capitalism is to maximize profits and to reduce expenses as much as possible, right? So if you're a company, why wouldn't I automate? It's only a matter of time before we have our first billionaire that doesn't have a building, no employees, no none of that. But he has a net worth of over $1 billion just off of whatever digital uh, products and services that they're offering. So yeah, it's looking grim. I don't see how it can get better for unskilled workers. And so the bigger question is what happens when that happens? Do we get a French Revolution? Do we go to UBI? And if we do, when does that happen? What's the timeline? Move along.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't. So whatever, it's actually accelerates faster than you. So
Hmm.
by the time you get to have that skill, like driving the Uber or a cab or something like that, okay, has already beaten you there. It's going to replace
Exactly.
you within a year.
Oh, he's cooking. He's cooking. Yeah, y'all
Okay.
cooking. Y'all cooking. I'm
Okay.
glad I muted up. Y'all cooking. You're basically
Jesus
saying that
Christ.
the rate that AI learns at is so exponentially
Yes,
faster than
yes, yeah,
humans
yeah.
that it's going to get to a
Eh,
point
eh,
where AI learns a certain job faster and more efficiently
eh,
than
eh,
the
And
average
it,
human can learn it.
We're
and the
Basically,
already
thing is, you
there.
have all these systems
yeah.
connected. So what one AI system doesn't know, you actually get from another one because it's
Exactly.
connected.
Yeah. And so that's why I was saying the other day that as an educator, I recognize that the system, the educational system we have is already flawed. It's really outdated. It's been outdated. And
I
all I'm
agree with
saying
May.
is we need to be using.
Now, what do I know? I'm not a teacher. May's the teacher, so I'll defer to her on this. Um, yeah, the education system I think is uh it okay. So how do you teach kids that can chat GPT their own essays? You can use bot detection programs, but those are easily circumvented. Need something more than that. There was a news article on Medium where a college professor saw like the EM dash, and he thought that well, since ChatGPT specifically likes to throw in those EM dashes are like those really long dashes, not the normal short one, but the really really long one, right? You wonder like how the hell I didn't know a keyboard could make a single character of the dash that's long. I think yeah, that's called an EM dash, and he thought that was kind of like a tell. Like no, the student was like, no, I actually use EM dashes. The professor didn't believe him. He said you're cheating because LLMs use EM dashes all the time. You get an F, and then the student had to go to the department head, and the department head had to tell them, knock that shit off after they ran through their essay through a bot detection program, which uh uh detected as human. Right, I think it was like 98% human, right? But then that still could have been a false positive, right? Or a well, anyways, that student could have circumvented that bot detection because there are ways of doing it, right? So you can have a system prompt that can add like flavor to its responses, and you can use like your own text documents of your own legitimate writings and use that as kind of like as a writing waterprint or watermark for all of its responses, right? So you can have ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude. Um, you can have it talk any way that you want, any language, any style you want. You can have it write any way you want. So yeah, there are ways of circumventing it. So that's not a dependable or stable way of AI detection. So eventually, the uh, educators will have to adopt a new meta, whether they want to or not, because New York, when ChatGPT first came out, I think New York City banned it, and I'm sure someone in that city hall was like, well, maybe we shouldn't cripple our kids by pretending like this tool doesn't exist because obviously it's not going anywhere. So they unbanned it and they do other things. But yeah, at some point they're going to have to adopt a new meta, change up the strategy, um, do something.
AI as a tool to help us go to the next level. And no, your brain is not going to be as smart as AI, and you have to know and accept your
Doesn't need to be.
limitations, but use it for what it's worth. And let's stop wasting time. That was my point.
The thing is, all the studies that they've done on that uh, points you a different direction. Okay,
Hmm.
they've already
Which
studied this
what
stuff.
studies what? No, I don't know. I think you're thinking maybe more
No, no,
super
no, 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 no,
futuristic than
no,
I am.
no, no, no,
You are. You're
no,
thinking very
no,
you're
no,
thinking way ahead. You're
no,
thinking some
no,
Wakanda stuff. I'm
no,
not
no,
thinking that. I'm talking
no.
about
We're talking about
I'm
5 years. We're not talking about
I'm talking
Wakanda
about
stuff.
right now. Like I was telling y'all the other
Okay,
day. Let's
okay.
just snatch this.
May should have asked BGS what articles is referring to. That should have been her question. What articles are you referring to that AI tools yield a net negative over not using them? That's what I would love to read.
Spanish out, right? And let's leave that alone and let them use the tools to learn how to navigate. Somebody on AB Media, it was irritating me today because they was talking about this topic and they were like, well, there could be 60 different versions of Spanish. Well, that's the
No,
thing. AI
okay.
can teach, AI is smart enough. It can learn all 60 and it can speak for you, translate for you
Yep,
in that particular Cuban Spanish or Puerto Rican Spanish.
we have
AI
that
can do
today.
that. You ain't gonna learn but one generic ass Spanish.
But
That's what I'm
May,
Now,
saying.
do you see the problem?
let her finish. Let her finish.
Okay.
Finish your thought,
Well,
man.
that's the main thing. I just want to say that we got to look at it like, how can we use it today? Stop wasting 2 years learning some generic language you probably ain't gonna use, and
And do what with your 2 years?
learn the tools of AI.
Now, of course, I'm biased. I I know. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm agreeing with everything that May is saying. Cannot believe I'm actually saying this. I agree with everything that May is saying because if you have a smartphone, I don't know about Apple. I don't deal with Apple products, but if you have a Samsung product, I still have my S21. I may upgrade to S25. Anyways, um, yeah, like S25 has like live translation features. So, I mean, if you have, I mean, it's not like as fluent as speaking to someone, right? But if you have someone that's patient enough, I mean, there are third party apps where you can speak into the phone and they'll translate it, and this is any language. Of course, like except for like the super rare ones that 99% of the planet doesn't speak anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you can speak it to it; it'll transcribe it in real time. and then you can give the phone or let someone on the phone look at it. Also, you can also uh, listen to someone talk with the earbuds, and of course, this is specifically to Samsung products, and they'll do kind of like a live translate for you. It just depends on which route you want to go, but the days of you needing to learn, like take time out to learn a language, to be able to get by, those days are over. They've been over for a minute. Now will it is it a disruptor to free flowing conversation? Yeah. Yeah, maybe some people won't have the patience to sit there and watch you translate, back and forth, right? So if someone, I mean, not to me, I have the patience, but some people, right, if they don't know English and they are talking to a phone, translating to English, some people you can understand, maybe not understand, but some people will be like, they get irritated and walk away, right? You just learn English. It's not that hard, right? So same thing, right? So instead of wait, I don't know about 2 years. Maybe if you do a part time, it'll take 2 years. But if you buckle down, I don't even want to spend 1 month learning a new language. Let's just cut it down to 1 month. I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to even do that. No, 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 no. I just want to use the tools as efficiently as possible. What is the best solution for me to use AI based tools to uh, to communicate with other people that don't speak English and I don't speak their language? What is the workflow? What is the meta for me to do that as efficiently as possible? Right. That's what I'm going to be researching on. Not spending 2 years, according to May's example, trying to learn one language. Right. Because let's say you go down to South America, so you're going to learn Spanish. Well, how often are you going to be traveling to Spanish? Are you planning on living there? Are you going to be practicing every single day? This is one language, and of course, however many dialects or whatever. Like, no, let's just use a tool. Let's just do that. Okay. Can't believe I'm agreeing with me.
That will help you
Like,
enhance what your goal is, which is to be able to
okay.
navigate language with everybody in the global world,
I
from
agree.
Chinese to whatever, using AI.
To do what?
Instead
To
of learn one
communicate,
language for two
To do
years, it's no point.
to do what?
to communicate.
You could end up using it to communicate to people,
Yes,
like learning the tools.
yes,
We have a global world. I travel, you travel,
yes,
people do internships. They
yes,
need translators all the time. That's
yes,
going to eliminate a lot of translators in the school
yes,
district. A lot of times they have to do, presentations to parents. Now they can put the earplugs on the parents,
yep,
and the parents can listen to it in their own
yes,
natural language.
yes. And they don't, and we don't have to say, just learn English. There's no more language barrier there. Now, again, are translating applications and services perfect? No. No, no, no. But I don't need to be perfect. I think we're probably up to 90%. Maybe Google Translate's not the best. There's definitely better services out there. But if you got 90% or 95% correction, people can fill in the gaps, right? So now, if you're talking, if you're a teacher, let's say take me for an example, right? I think she's giving this example right now. If you have one of your students, they're the only English speaking student in their entire family. That happens a lot, right? And you're doing a parent teacher conference. And again, I don't care about kids education, but now there's not, you don't have to go get it translated to talk to the parent. You can just, here's your phone, or do you have a phone so we can communicate, whatever, right? So yeah, absolutely. No, I would never advocate for a teacher to spend 1 year or 2 year or whatever to speak Spanish. Because what happens if you get one of your students is Chinese or Vietnamese, right? That's just not a scalable strategy at all. I come here to teach kids, not to learn language, so I can communicate with their parents. That just doesn't work.
Learn how to use the tools of AI to navigate language. Stop
Yes,
wasting time struggling to learn one
yes,
What?
language for 2 years. That's all I'm
Why
saying.
yes.
do we require foreign language just to go to college?
Because it's
What does it have to?
outdated,
No, no, no,
BTS.
no.
What does that
No,
have
that
to do with anything? Oh, let me let BTS go. Let's see where it's going with this. And I am agreeing with May that it seems kind of outdated, but
see
continue.
why.
It's outdated.
No, you never used it, why they actually want to actually learn it?
Mm, that's a good question.
It
I don't
begins with a
actually know.
C,
I
and
don't
I
actually
said
know
it.
why. I don't know why you need it, honestly.
It because it increases your cognitive ability.
Yes.
Everything you're talking about
Yes.
is you're reducing. Because I was about to ask you, May, what happens to the cognitive load when you do that? You don't have it anymore.
Again, so this is what I'm talking about with things in practice, and by practice I mean in the workplace, and doing things, just the just in case, uh the learning style. um when you're prompt engineering, uh coming up with efficient prompts, or coming up with efficient system prompts for your sub agents, for them to do work, that takes cognitive load. That is not like a one click, some sort of solution. This idea that you can only get cognitive load by doing things the old way is absolutely incorrect. There are other ways of getting your cognitive load fixed. Pause. I just feel like I got to pause on that. There are other ways of getting your cognitive load fixed instead of doing things the old way. Prompt engineering, um, creating an entire application using sub agents. And I keep using programming as an example because this is what I do. It's not simple. It's not easy to create a production level, not an MVP, not a minimum viable product, like an actual production level application that has API and MCP, and you should be having an MCP server with your application. It depends on what it is, of course. Um, Security practices, development practices, uh, test-driven development, so on and so forth, stuff like that. All of that stuff takes cognitive load. So even though you're not getting your cognitive load and again, pause, you're not getting a cognitive load on the lowest level. You're getting it on a higher level, the abstraction level, right? So you have that AI, excuse me, you have the AI level that you're working on top of, but you still have to think these things through. You have to be the architect of your application, and you have to be a good one if you're going to release a product, right? You can't come out here with AI flop applications and talking about you're going to sell that as a SaaS, software as a service, and think it's going to be good. And no, you have to still practice programming best practices for the most part. Some companies don't care, uh, and that goes for gaming as well. Which is just a software product. It's just a game. So the cognitive, so the point is the thing that because you use AI that you don't use cognitive load is incorrect. That is absolutely incorrect. I'll die on that hill. Absolutely not. Anyways,
Yeah.
That's the reason why you learn languages because it increases your mental ability.
It does.
no, you learn languages to communicate. People are not learning languages. You know what? I really want to push my brain to the limit. I want to see how far I could put. No, people want to learn the language for whatever reason, but usually people want to learn the languages to communicate. Yes, that comes with cognitive load, absolutely. But people are not learning languages to challenge them how much they can stress their brain. That doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And think about this. Look at the deep say, mate. Before people even reach to college or high school, they at certain high school they teach you another language because they want to increase that flow. Because the more
No, no. No. They teach you a foreign language because that's what the state mandates. That's why. Now, when I was in high school, I did have interest in Japanese. I think mainland high school, what they told us, mainland high school was the only school in the state of Florida that taught Japanese. I felt lucky because this is the Dragon Ball Z era, right? Dragon Ball Z, as much anime that you could watch, the better, right? I was at that point in my life, so everything, all the good anime was subtitled and everything, and so if you wanted to my plan was to learn Japanese so I could eventually go to Japan because video games, Japanese, Asian women, uh, That's where my life was at that point in my life. That's where my life was headed. So maybe I should learn Japanese, right? I eventually want to go to Japan. I want to learn Japanese so I can watch like the best Japanese is subtitled. I don't have to worry about the English job and shit. I could actually travel around in Japan, and maybe I can even live here, and I can get a Japanese wife or whatever. I may want to communicate with her, right? Right. That's why I took Japanese. That's why I took it. Now, if there was no Japanese there and I didn't have to take a foreign language, if it wasn't state mandated, I absolutely would not take a foreign language at all. Now, that's just me. That's not everyone, of course. But again, schools don't teach it because, well, we want to stress test their brain and make sure that they're getting their cognitive load fixed. And no, it's mandated by the state. So if you've been to high school and if you graduated from high school, at least in the state of Florida, you had to take a foreign language, whether that's Spanish, and that's usually like the usual suspect, right? Spanish. Some schools offered French. Mainland offered Japanese. Schools offer different things, but usually every school offers Spanish, right? Spanish 1, 2, and 3, maybe even 4 if they offer it. Same thing with college. Exact same thing with college because it's mandated in high school. It is also mandated in the college. Uh, so again, college is the same thing as a gen ed. Learn some Spanish. That's it may be. I think it's 2 years. I could be wrong on that. Check me on that. It could be 2 years mandatory for college foreign language. But again, they're not doing it because we want to stress test their brain and make sure. No, no. I am glad. I that being said, I am glad that uh, schools maybe not mandates. I don't like it as a requirement. I would like it more as of an option. But that's just my personal feelings in the whole thing. But yeah, the point still stands. Like this whole thing that schools offer this because cognitive load. That's a line of horse shit. That's horse shit. Schools don't care about you like that. I don't give a fuck about these students like that. Are you kidding me? Since when have you ever heard of a school caring about a student's mental load? Stop it.
The more language you know, the more your brain starts to activate.
And the thing is,
Oh, brother.
can you imagine in a language? Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
See,
No.
y'all are valuing
Hey,
stuff
hey,
that
hey,
doesn't
hey,
have
hey, hey,
value
hey, hey,
anymore.
hey.
Hey, thank you. I cannot believe I'm agreeing with the man again. Y'all talking about stuff that they don't. Y'all are just making stuff up at this point. With respect.
Hey. We let you talk, did we not?
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay. In other words, how do you know what's valuable, man? Well, how do you determine that?
I think what's valuable is it takes less time and you're efficient and you get the desired outcome. That's what's valuable for most
No.
people.
In other words, the desired outcome.
Yes, desired outcome.
You put widget A, turn it into widget B at the end of the assembly line, right?
Nah.
Sure.
That's
I don't know where. I think I know where BGS is going with this. But again, her May's example of communication is spot on. Because you can't if you someone that's using a translation app and they've adjusted to that, um, to tell them, maybe not to tell them, but to say that you should actually learn the language, and you probably should learn the language if you live in that country, just for the sake of efficiency and free flowing conversation, um, for different reasons, right? So you actually, that's just my opinion. But in terms of like just communicating, you're there visiting or whatever, no. But to say that you're cheating, and my mother used to say crap like stupid shit like this because you're using this tool, you're actually cheating. Cheating was the actual word that she used. Um, you're cheating yourself because you're using these tools and you're not doing things the old way. I think that annoying old think that you think because when you were coming up, there was only one way of doing it. Therefore, it should be the only way of doing it. That's just outdated thinking. That's just outdated thinking. There's just no way. No way. All right,
what you're
continue
saying.
on.
Hmm.
No, I'm not talking about assembly line. I'm saying I want somebody to cut my grass. I don't care how it's cut. I don't care if it's a
Yep,
machine that cuts it. I
yep,
just need my grass when it's
yep,
done.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
yep. If it's a guy that's from and if it's a guy that's from Peru that's giving me a better rate than the black guy down the road, then you goddamn right, I'm gonna whip out that translation app, and we're gonna be talking back and forth. Absolutely, absolutely. Again, I agree with absolutely. That doesn't make any. BGS's point doesn't make sense here.
I need
Okay.
my grass cut.
You need your
It could be
grass
a
cut.
robot. It could be a human.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
my grass cut.
Okay. So what happened to the grass cutter?
Hmm?
What happened to the guy that used to cut the grass?
If they if the AI is cutting your grass for cheaper than the lawn service guy, I almost said grass cutting guy. If the AI is offering the service cheaper, then I'm gonna go with AI. What happens to the lawn care guy? Uh, well, he probably is gonna come to the conclusion. Well, first of all, I don't care what happens to the lawn care guy. Let me just say that. Right? I can't think about everyone else's job when I'm using my AI tool. I don't have that kind of energy. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, what happens to him? Um, he'll have to pivot to do something else. That's the reality. Now, what would he be doing? I don't know. That I don't know. I think that's what B just is really asking. What is the lawn care guy going to do if AI takes over his entire job workflow, and not just the grass cutting, but also the leaf blowing and also the trimming, and also all the other stuff, right? So what does that leave him? I don't know. That's his problem to deal with. Is that right for me to say no? Because if and the reason why I say that, not that I care about the individual, but if it happens to enough people, if it happens to millions of people, you've got a big fucking problem on your hand. Again, you may have the French Revolution 2.0. Who knows? Right? What happens? I don't know. I don't know. If they are out of if they can't work their business and if they can't utilize their school to provide a living for themselves and their family, and if they're not willing to upskill, what does that leave them? Not a good place. Not a good place. And if they don't have UBI, well, we know what happens. We know we have enough data what happens when people are they feel like they're disenfranchised, or if they actually are disenfranchised and they can't provide a living for themselves. We know exactly what happened. What do we do when that happens? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But the solution is not to take away the AI toys. That's not the solution. Right? Because if that's the case, if you're going to say, well, we have to slow this down. And by the way, the idea of slowing it down doesn't help, because what's the difference between, okay, so let's say, I don't know, if we have advanced robotics and AI based LLMs, SLMs, all that stuff advance next year, 2026. If they advance and everyone is out of work, well, maybe not everyone, but like let's say 90% unemployment, right? Well, 90% unemployment, you definitely will have uh, a violent revolution. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, it doesn't happen. What would be the difference between that happening in 2027 and 2037? What would be the difference besides the year, of course? What could you do in 10 years to alleviate that and to still have AI tools and not take away the AI tools? Because the AI tools are not going anywhere. We've already opened Pandora's box. Even if OpenAI and Google and AWS and Tesla says no mas, no more. Of course, my phone goes off, and they say no mas. We're not providing LLM inference services anymore. You can't use ChatGPT. All that shit is dead. They still exist. There's still the open source versions that you can't touch because they're offline. And then of course China's not going to stop. Not to feed into the whole political paranoia, uh, AI Cold War sort of narrative. Maybe it's not a narrative; it's actual fact. But right, it's just not taking away AI tools. It's just not a solution. It never was. So eventually, because now I think it's still a small problem. In 2037, will it still be a small problem? No, because 10 years. 10 years is a long time. I guess that's the answer, right? If it happens this year, it's a big fucking problem. That happens way too fast in 2037. We still have a 10-year head start. It's still going to be a big fucking problem in 2037, but we can still come. We still have 10 years to brainstorm. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. But the whole I'm not going to nerf. I'm not going to nerf the people who do have the skills and the people who are willing to upskill. For the people who can't or not willing to. Everyone's not going to suffer because of the uh, loud majority. Is that the phrase? Is that the thing? Anyways, continuing on.
I'm just asking me for an outcome. That's all I gave.
Mm,
I need
okay.
Nebraska.
Most people feel that way. So, in other words, if
Here we go.
need help in, say, my doing my medical billing, right? Okay, I don't care what it's AI or what.
Yeah.
Right.
Same price, as long as they get it done, right?
Yep.
Correct.
So basically, that's what capitalists see, right? Doesn't
Yep.
matter. People don't care. They don't care whether who takes your order on the book when you actually go to Amazon. Okay,
Yep.
Right. So the values of the desired outcome.
okay.
And that's what I'm saying. The same thing about language. Don't nobody care if you memorize and speak English or Spanish in your brain. Nobody cares about that. Can you communicate and take
Yep.
my order at this restaurant
Yep.
here
Yep.
right
Yep. Yep.
now?
Yep.
Can you
Okay.
be my waiter and my waitress? We got all these
Exactly.
Mexicans running around here and don't
Hmm.
know them speak English. They refuse, but they will pull out that application and
Yep.
they'll use it to communicate to make some money.
Yep.
We need to train people how to use AI and technology.
And I hope this doesn't get forked into some sort of immigration talk. MS Delta guy says, speaking as a person who speaks multiple Romance languages and learning Chinese, there is no substitute for old-fashioned studying and practicing to build your brain and new neural connections. You guys are missing the point. It's not about, yeah, I'm going to assume that since you know how to speak multiple Romance language and also learning Chinese, that you actually have a passion for learning this stuff, right? I'm in no way trying to discourage anyone from doing that. But the point is, I don't need 100% fluency to be able to communicate. I just need an app that can do, I think we're at, okay, let's say 75%. Apps are much better than that. But let's say 2010s, we're about 75%. And we can fill in the blanks for the rest. That's all you need. You don't need fluency. And with that's 80, 75, 80%, that scales to all the popular languages. So Mandarin, what is it? Simplified Chinese or Cantonese? I don't know. Japanese, Spanish, and its dialects, um, French. So yeah, I can communicate while you're sitting there, making it your life's mission to learn to be a polyglot. Is it polyglot or polyglot? Polyglot learning languages, language learning. That's fine, but I'm not trying to do that. There's tools that where I can communicate with the same people you're communicating. Now, will they have a better flow with you than they have with me? Yeah, that's a trade-off. That's just a trade-off that you make. But this idea that you should learn languages because of cognitive load is just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's no.
To bridge the divide, to bridge the
Can't believe
human brain
I'm up here
shortcomings.
agreeing with
We
May.
need to patch ourselves up with AI.
Jesus.
That's all I'm promoting.
So you might as well take the probes and put it in your brain, right? Speeds up the
I don't
process.
know about all that. I don't know about all that.
If you're gonna go that far, you might as well go all the way, right?
Well, um, no, because again, we don't need 100% fluency. And again, continuing with our foreign language example, We don't need 100% fluency. So the apps on the phone or on the watch or on the smart glasses, that's good enough. I don't need 100% fluency. So no, I don't need whatever uh probes or whatever to download the language so I can speak it fluently. That's an option. Some people will choose it, some people won't. I think me and B just had this talk that, if that's an option, I said yes, I would take it, pending that there was no hidden sort of telemetry or like a bomb switch or some shit like that. Because you know how corporations get, they want some form of control. Very rarely that they will sell a product or service that will operate without them. Right, this is not how things are done these days, right? So usually you're going to be connected to some sort of cloud service or services that could put restrictions or whatever, right? You don't pay your monthly bill, then you won't be able to use your mental probe or whatever. Who knows? But no, if it operated as kind of like offline standalone product, I don't need a subscription. I don't have to worry about government hacking into my shit and shutting my brain down because I said or did something that they didn't like. Sure, absolutely. I would love to not have to read another book again ever. That would be awesome. To not be able to not have to. Everyone is on the same playing field. Well, everyone that can afford the probe. Now, nothing is equal, so not everyone's gonna have access to it, and that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, new branches of mathematics. You want to learn real analysis? You got it, right? You don't have to dedicate 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 20 years to learning this branch or branches of mathematics. It's downloaded on demand. You goddamn right, I want that. I would love to be able to ingest millions of books, pirated books at the same time, or PDFs at the same time, and I can grab all of that knowledge and it maps to all of my neurons. Absolutely. Again, minus the telemetry stuff, because I know well, if this is the mark of the beast, and the government is going to use it to fry your part of your front what is it, the frontal lobe cortex or whatever the hell it's called. Yeah, outside of that, sure. And even then, if I'm not really, I'm not. I mean, that's not a decision you take lightly, but I'm not really in a rush either. It would have to provide like substantial benefits for me to do that. Continue on.
That's where me and you are different. I think that we need to blend, but I think we need to stay separate. You want to do some
Okay.
kind of
Oh,
merge.
no, no, okay. I asked Nicole this, back 5 years, almost 5 years ago, right? He was 2.0 versus 1.0. Going to have a baby. Was what are you actually going to have? The kid has the 250 IQ, or the kid that has the 85 IQ? Which one you going to have? One's natural, one's augmented. Which one you going to have?
I want the natural kid, me
Okay.
personally.
How's it going to compete against the
Now on this point,
kid that has this augmented?
I agree with BGS. If you've ever if you ever seen the movie, and it's a movie, sure, it's science fiction. The movie is Gattaca. It is Gattaca, right? Yeah, Gattaca with Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, and I forgot the other guy's name. So the premise of the movie is that Ethan Hawke's character, he is born into this world where 99% of people, I don't know if it's actually 99%, but the overwhelming majority of people are designer babies, right? So they've eliminated all diseases, asthma, ADHD, all the stuff that parents don't want, Down syndrome, all that stuff gone using genetic manipulation or genetic editing. Ethan Hawke's mother has two kids. The oldest was a designer baby. The youngest, Ethan Hawke's character, is natural born. So she said, "Well, I wanted to have him, I wanted to be natural born and be all natural and blah blah blah." Right? Dumb bird brain shit. So of course, Ethan Hawke's character uh, is struggling. Right? He can't. Uh, he's falling behind everyone. Everyone is. way ahead of everyone is way ahead of him, his brother's ahead of him, and thus classes get created, right? It's really only two people who are designer babies and the people who are not designer babies, right? You don't want to be natural born because you can't compete on any level on anything, right? Of course, the movie makes it a point where his older brother can't swim, and then he saves him from swimming, and all that stuff because Ethan Hawke's character. I don't remember exactly. It's been almost 20 years since I've seen that movie. Um, so that's what that premise is. I agree with BGS on this point. If you are in a world of designer babies, or if you're in a world with an up and coming designer baby generation, and if you are a mother, if you have a natural born or non gene edited baby, your child cannot compete. Now to the mother, that may not be a big deal to you, but it will be a big deal to your kids. What is the effects? Can they get a job in this new world where the designer baby generation, where they may? Can you imagine? Could you imagine? Let's just do a thought experiment. Can you imagine being born in a world where everyone is 6'5" or taller, and here you are with your 5'7" self, and then your entire life you're hating life because everyone is clowning you, looking down on you because mommy wanted you to be a natural born baby. Competing in sports is out. Sports, you're done. You can't go to the military, you're done because you're going to be the weakest link. You're short. You're not gonna be as smart as everyone else. You may have a disease or diseases. You may have a condition. That life, nobody, never say never, right? Nobody wants that life for themselves. Maybe there is one person that's goofy enough for the challenge, right? So I agree with BGS on this.
Uh,
I don't like how he's shifting the conversation. BGS, you're not slick. Let's see if he brings it back in. But
if it's
continue
survival
on.
of the fittest, I would be smarter if I chose the 250. I would be more intelligent by doing that.
Yeah. So in other words, how is your kid
Wow.
going to compete against this has a 100 IQ, somebody that's 2.5 times smarter than he is, and augmented?
That's, right, right. Yeah.
I'm asking, okay?
And he's not gonna be competing. He's gonna be losing.
Exactly, exactly. So in other words, so the thing is, then dumbing down the kids by doing this is not going to help you compete.
I didn't say dumbing down.
You're going to
Where does that come from?
how can you not dumb them down?
What I was talking about is efficiency, desired outcome. I'm saying I can't keep using the same scenario. Okay,
What
let's do
is
the trigonometry.
what did I miss? How did he link that with dumbing it down with designer babies? Let me listen again. Let me give BGS a chance because maybe I missed something by running my mouth.
Survival of the fittest. I would be smarter if I chose the 250. Memorize and speak English or Spanish in your brain. Nobody cares about that. Can you communicate and take my order at this restaurant here right
Okay,
now? Can you
okay,
be my waiter and my waitress? We got
okay.
all these Mexicans running around here and don't
Mhm.
know them to speak English. They refuse, but they will pull out that application and they'll use it to communicate to make some money. We need to train people how to use AI and technology to bridge the divide, to bridge the human brain shortcomings. We need to patch ourselves up with AI. Is all I'm promoting.
So you might as well take the probes and put it in your brain, right?
Okay,
Speeds up the
so
I
because
process.
don't
she
know
said, because she's okay, I got you, BGS.
about all that. I don't know about all
So
that.
if you're gonna go that far, you might as well go all the way, right?
That's where me and you are different. I think that we need to blend, but I think we need to stay separate. You want to do some kind
Okay.
of
Oh,
merge.
no, okay. I asked Nicole this, back 5 years, almost 5 years ago, right? He was 2.0 versus 1.0. Going to have a baby. Was what are you actually going to have? The kid that has the 250 IQ, or the kid that has the 85 IQ? Which one you going to have? One's natural, one's augmented. Which one you going to have?
I want the natural kid, me
Okay.
personally.
how's it going to compete against the kid that has this augmented?
If it's survival of the fittest, I would be smarter if I chose the 250. I would be more intelligent. But
See, and and then I was agreeing with the man, and then she says something like that. Okay, 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 okay. But no, well, I'm gonna let BJS make his point again.
doing
Yeah. So in other words, how is your kid
Wow.
going to compete against this has 100 IQ, somebody that's 2.5 times smarter than he is, and augmented?
this. Right, right. Yeah.
I'm asking, okay?
And he's not gonna be competing. He's gonna be losing.
Exactly, exactly. So in other words, so the thing is, then dumbing down the kids by doing this is not going to help you compete.
I didn't say don't.
Well, well, even if well, BJS, I I agree with that. I agree with that, but I don't agree with your premise. And that well, I've never agreed with your premise that AI is dumbing down kids. I know you take it from a child education perspective, and I don't. But even if right, if you're talking about like designer babies, um, whether they augmented or not, uh, whether AI dumbs down the natural born or not, it won't make a difference. They're not going to be able to compete with kids that are augmented. That won't make a difference. The kids that are natural born and they're taught the old way, memorization, all this other stuff doesn't matter. They're taught the old way, and there's another generation of kids up after them that comes after them, um, or alongside them that they're designer babies and or augmented. The natural born babies, they're not going to be able to compete on any level. Whether they have AI tools or not, they won't be able to compete. So I don't know.
Dumbing
They
down.
You're
won't be
going
able
to
to compete.
how can you not dumb them down?
What I was talking about is efficiency, desired outcome. I'm saying I can't keep using the same scenario. Okay, let's do the trigonometry.
Well, the point is that B just believes AI tools dumbs down people, and me and May, at least for this example, agree that they do not. Certainly makes people more efficient, and as far as cognitive load and memorization, that's not a world that's not relevant anyways. You think it's not relevant today, it won't be relevant in 10 to 20 years. So yeah, you could learn how to do a whole bunch, memorize how to do a whole bunch of stuff. But if you're not going to memorize it or you're not going to use it, it doesn't matter. And again, we're not talking about reading, writing, or like simple arithmetic. We're talking about the stuff on top of that. Learning things, learning things for the sake of being well-rounded to me is just a complete waste of time because you don't remember it. I remember reading Macbeth in Old English. Man, I've never been so bored in my life. I was glad that it was done. I didn't feel like a more of a whole person or a well-rounded person. It was a waste of time. Waste of time. No, I didn't think me learning Old English. Yeah, it was cognitive load, all right. I was glad it was over with, and I never touched it ever again. Oh,
I'm going to congratulate you, sir. Actually had me researching today. I had to learn what calculus
Oh,
was and what trigonometry was. I ain't never
Hmm.
seen this shit in my life, and
Hmm.
I'll never want to see it. Um, that should have make my brain explode.
it's not that hard, but go on.
Shit, you crazy.
Yeah,
You
all
see
it
them
is.
formulas? You see them formulas?
We've
all right,
seen
man.
it.
Get to
We've
it. Get
done.
to it, man.
The formulas are nothing.
No,
Try the application problems. Okay.
Exactly.
no.
It's the application of map.
All that shit can be automated using math from Mathematica, Wolfram Mathematica, MATLAB, all that other stuff. Um, and again, if you don't know how to use it in the real world, again, we have AI tools for that. But sure, you can learn trigonometry. Sure, yeah, go through the mental load of learning it and using AI tools in the real world. Sure, by all means.
That's where your critical thinking
That's where
comes
your
in.
critical thinking comes in. Try the word problems. Okay.
Hmm.
No, no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want no parts of that.
Thank
It
you.
just it was a lot.
No, I
It
don't want
made
no
me
part of it.
wonder about myself. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, Kenny, don't you need to know how to do trigonometry and machine learning? If you're talking about like physics, yes. Game design and development, absolutely. In terms of like modeling neurons and applying uh, deep learning algorithms, no, no. I'm sure there's a workflow or an algorithm that may implement some sort of trigonometry, but again, we can refer to that or defer to that using other AI tools or calculators or whatever. It's just not something you have to memorize. We have enough sophistication in terms of tools and references to where someone um, can do enough research on what is needed. Uh, of course, this is my opinion. I can't say this for a fact because not everyone is the same. To be able to plug in whatever formula or formulas or whatever workflow that into that process. And it can be testable. We have tools for that. Again, Wolfram Mathematica, uh, MATLAB. Was it PTC? It's not called Oreo. I forgot the damn name. MathCAD. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of mathematical development environments where you could try out different stuff. They also have like their own inbuilt AI based tools to help you model things and to build out tests and do calculations for you. It's just this is a um, uh, getting things done and not memorize stuff sort of economy.
Anyway, I said,
Maybe not.
speaking as
Maybe
a person
economy
who
is not the
speaks
right word,
multiple
but
Romance languages, learning
um,
Chinese, is no substitute for the
sort of way life.
old-fashioned studying and practicing to build your brain and new neural
Oh,
connections. It's Simmons Delta, and,
um,
and
Could have taken a shot by him spelling neuro wrong, but I'm not gonna do that.
all his family has PhDs. Okay, according to him.
Okay.
okay, he's a high
So what?
IQ. That's good.
Yeah,
But look
high
at what
earning,
he's
high
valuing.
IQ guy. So what?
But look at what he's valuing. See, y'all look to talk about feelings. How much of this is feelings and not
I May said one stupid thing today, and I don't want to agree with her ever again. But she's right. She's right because the mental cognitive argument is I agree with May. It's an emotional argument. It's not one that's stemmed in an actual workplace efficiency. No, there's tools. Matter of fact, your employer is going to want you to use those tools.
efficiency. Let's look at that. How much of this is feelings?
Okay.
He feels it's more valuable to do this and that
Yeah,
because these are
because
traditional things. Y'all
exactly.
listen. This is why the educational
How,
system has
how,
not
how do
changed
you
in America.
how do you know
This
his
is why
feelings? How do you know his
Yes,
feelings?
it's not feeling.
because
How
it's
do you know?
not.
Because his statement was it 14837. His statement. Let me just go back. Speaking as the person who speaks multiple Romance languages and learning language, there is no substitute for old-fashioned studying and practicing to build your brain and new neural connections. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's an opinion based on feelings. And I bet $1 trillion he doesn't have he has no sources since he has a PhD and PhDs love asking for sources. There's no there's no uh of course the phrase blanks on me, but there's no sources to back up that statement. So it's an opinion and then it's based on feelings. It's fine. I don't even mind him saying this. He values languages. Fine. That's okay, like I said before. But to say that, well, you got to do things the hard way for you to grow, that's a load of crap. That's a load of crap. No pain, no gain. Maybe in the 80s. That's a load of crap.
Shit, you crazy.
Yeah. Substitute for old-fashioned. The thing is, they're finding out with these group of kids coming out of college that this shit does not work. Okay, you have to rejigger this stuff. Okay, you can't let it run amok. It has to be very tightly controlled. How you teach these kids with, and young kids shouldn't actually even touch this stuff at all, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. Okay,
Yeah.
They
shouldn't even
already
touch.
are.
I know they are. I got 5 grandsons. I know they are. Guess what
Hmm.
it does? It actually regresses them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I bought my son an abacus. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you will not get a calculator until you learn how to use this abacus. And
Yes.
he's only he's going to be 7 in November, but he's starting math with an abacus so that it can be tactile
Yeah.
because that helps them learn better,
Yeah.
especially a boy.
Yeah. I took away all this little device.
Look, you know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. Moving
For my
along.
grandson when he was like 3 or 4 years old, and got him a whiteboard. Okay, you have to
Hmm.
do this by
Yeah.
hand. Guess what it did?
Yes.
Yes.
Accelerated his knowledge and growth.
I would think.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
they have to stretch those brain muscles, those neurons. That's what
And
education
y'all
is for.
assuming that AI and technology, they have like all
We,
kind
we,
of brain
we
stretching,
How much you know
all
about
kind of
AI,
stuff.
baby? How long you been?
Mm-hmm. How much do you know?
Have you studied AI? How long have you studied this
That
stuff?
you know, I already told you. I just had an introduction less than a year ago to the
I've
idea
been
of.
studying this shit since '89, baby. I
I'm not
know.
saying you haven't, but okay, let me go back to this. The original point I'm making is that
Hmm.
our educational system is not going to change because we got people who are emotionally invested in stuff like romance languages,
Oh, oh May.
wasting 2 years on it.
Oh May. Don't cook them like that.
Y'all are feeling that we need to do certain stuff like write. Writing is no longer have a purpose.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Now, it could be just me. I was with you until you said writing. Now, for me, and maybe I'm just a fucking weirdo. Um, I do, and it is an emotional thing, or at least I think it is. I don't know. I'm not a neurologist or whatever, so who knows? Or neuropsychologist or whatever the hell it's called. Um, I do find that even though like typing on the screen and whatever's on the paper or on the tablet screen, if I'm writing it out, um, it sticks. Or not that it sticks, is that I'm more expressive when I'm actually making the physical motion. It's not necessarily more of a cognitive load. It's just it just feels better. So for me, I feel that, and this is coming from a person who still 95% of the time still types over writing. I still don't really write that much, but like with math, whenever I am creating an algorithm and I'm writing out the math or doing like the big old notation, I would still rather write that out instead of using LaTeX, because LaTeX is just it's annoying. But no, that's still an argument based um, in emotion because I'm not getting a cognitive load because all I'm doing is just copying from the screen to the tablet. Okay, but I agree with her. Uh, yeah, this I still haven't heard anything based in fact. It's just all these emotional arguments.
But y'all just feel like it needs to be done because y'all want to connect all these other things. And my point is this is why the educational system can never be upgraded and overturned because y'all are stuck in the same processes of thinking about
Yeah.
education. That's why it's been like this and it'll never change.
Yeah.
So,
The thing is, because it has changed, right? And as you
mm-mm.
change it and adopt these things, what happens to the educational system?
It has not
Go,
changed at
yeah,
all.
a lot, a lot.
No.
Oh, yes, a
The
lot.
laws around education
Oh
have changed.
yes, y'all
They
will
have
not get
brought
the
in,
education that me and
they have
BGS
brought
got.
in they've
They,
brought in inclusion
no,
and they brought in a lot of stuff about feeling and self-esteem and wokeness. They spent most of their time on wokeness and
wokeness
social commentary,
instead of the old-fashioned
but
way of
not quality education.
instead of the old-fashioned way of doing things, they started eliminating things. That Common
Exactly.
Core changed a whole bunch of shit. Okay, it's not
Hmm.
what I what I learned when I was a kid is not the same thing that my kids learn. Okay, it changed the whole educational system. It's still changing it.
Yeah, but BGS, her point is that um, as far as radical changes, not to put words in radical in May's mouth because she didn't say radical change, but I assume that she's saying radical change in terms of what is the educational system going to look like when assigning a bunch of essays and dissertations? Is it going to where anyone can do that if they know how to use chat gpt and or gemini and or deep research and or notebook lm, because if you know how to use that stack right there, that stack right there, if you start off with if you start off with the topic and use something like perplexity and or gemini deep research to do the research, to do the source searching for you, and it will list the sources for you, and it will automatically migrate over to notebook lm. It will answer all of your questions. How do I build? Hey, notebook lm, build me out a thesis, or even with gemini, build me out a thesis, right? And then I'm going to upload this text file with something I actually wrote, or these or a series of text files of things that I actually wrote, and I want you to adopt your response to my style of writing, creating me a thesis step by step by step. And what happens to the educational system when we get there? Which we're already there. Not even let me take. It's not a question of when. It's a question of it's not. It hasn't gotten popular. Notebook LM, as popular as it is still, people still see it as kind of like a research tool for like college student air quotes. But it's really, we're at the point today in terms, if you want people to display their know-how by writing a series of articles or getting published. And of course, getting published is not easy. But again, there's a way of reverse engineering that process. Um, or having them write a thesis, it's not brain dead because it's a series of tools and you have to know what to ask for and you have to know how to prompt for it and do all of that stuff, right? You have to know how to do that stuff, which does take cognitive load. Um, what adjustments do colleges make in response to that? Because Google are not going to take down their toys because uh the educational system or colleges throw a hissy fit about it. Just like OpenAI didn't take down ChatGPT when teachers started to bitch and moan about it. They're not going to do that. So what adjustments are schools going to make? That's the question. Because if we're just going to pass, if anyone off the street with student loans or with grants could come off the street and get a PhD in 8 years with let me not simplify it that far because it's not that simple, not yet. But if they know how to prompt and they know how to use the AI tools, it is significantly easier to be able to get the master's degree and PhD. Absolutely. What do you do? Does that drive the value down of masters and PhDs and bachelor's degrees? Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. Now, what's the response from colleges and professors? Besides, oh, uh, well, come on back into the school. You'll have to do it in person. That's not a response for online schools. I can tell you right now, if the response from universities is you actually have to be in person to take this exam or that exam, people will just adjust by going to online only schools. That's not a solution. So the tools are here, they're not going anywhere. It's going to be up to the people to adjust or not. And bitching and moaning, and there's no legislation that's going to be able to solve for it either. Because again, let's say Gemini and OpenAI and AWS, a Google and Microsoft says, fuck that shit. We're going to take it down. For the sake of humanity, we're going to take it down. China still has deep DeepSeek running. They still have Kimi running. They still have Quinn running. If I'm not mistaken, Anthropic is a company out of Spain. I have to look that up. I don't think it's not an American company. It's somewhere in Europe. right? So all you're doing is just taking yourself out of the since AI is on the uptick, right? So you're just eliminating yourself from gaining revenue because of what? Humanity? Stop. No, people are going to be forced to adjust for them to be relevant. How are they going to adjust? Colleges are going to be forced to adjust. How are they going to adjust? Telling people that they have to come in and present like the old school ways, like it's in in the 90s. Who wants to do that shit? No. Sign me up for an online school. I don't want to deal with actually being there in person. You telling me you want to get rid of all of the benefits of online school because for the sake of what? For the sake of humanity and mental cognitive load? Mental cognitive load? No, just cognitive load. Stop. Stop it. That's not a solution. Continuing on.
It's not the same.
I would not believe that the Common Core, that curriculum when it was first rolled out, is intentioned to bring us to this time present now.
According to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and those kind of people actually introduced Common Core, yeah, that's what it's supposed to do, right? Guess what happened to it? It's fallen flat on its face.
Yep.
And you're
Getting
actually
off
gonna make
track.
it worse by introducing AI and make it worse?
It's a false equivalency, BTS. I understand your point you're trying to make. Um, I understand the point that you're trying to make, but I've seen that Common Core multiplication. I don't know who the fuck thought that was a good idea. Instead of taking 30 to 45 seconds to solve a multiplication, now it's like 3 to 5 minutes. Like what? What benefit is there to do this way? I don't know. Again, I'm not educated. I don't give two shits about child education. I don't know. To compare Common Core to AI tools is not a fair comparison at all. Again, I don't know enough about Common Core. From what I've seen, is yeah, but no, it's just people that's going to have to adjust. The technology is not going to adjust. The people have to adjust.
I'm saying
Man,
introduce AI as a tool to help people get to efficiency quicker and stop wasting
there
time.
is no
Oh.
shortcuts in life, man. You should know. You're
And, and,
educated.
and,
See,
and,
that's
and,
your human brain.
no,
That's
no,
your
no,
human
no.
brain.
You made up logic.
Exactly.
That's
Hey,
facts.
hey, May, they study this shit constantly, okay?
And this is again, well, first of all, Chaos Brain said there's no shortcuts. That's a goddamn lie. Every piece of technology that has ever existed, whether it's a car or a tire or a computer or a calculator or an AI tool, all of those are shortcuts. So that's a lie. Again, BGS with the studies, or not the studies, but with the statement that they studied this stuff. I would love to read. I asked them for sources last time we had this discussion. He told me to look it up. I'm like, no, you don't get to say that there's stuff out there and then tell me to look it up. No, sir. But no, I would love to read the articles or the websites or whatever that says that using AI tools, one, doesn't increase efficiency, and two, is actually dumbing people down. I think it takes, not takes, but um, people to utilize their brain in different ways. But that's what we had to do to adjust to the internet. Like we don't teach kids the Dewey Decimal System anymore. You ever notice that? Now, if you're over a certain age, you know about the Dewey Decimal System, how important it was, because you probably lived in the world before the World Wide Web, and thus your your local library was your internet, and so you had to find those books. Absolutely. So yeah, learning the Dewey Decimal System, absolutely. Don't ask me anything about it today. I haven't touched it since I was a kid, long time ago. Um, but that workflow of learning about the Dewey Decimal System and actually using them, that's dead. That's dead technology. Maybe not dead. Let me take that back. I'm sure that there's somewhere I'm sure that if you go to the public library, it probably still uses it in some way, shape, or form. So it's not completely dead for the enthusiasts out there. But you don't need it because a library's entire catalog is going to be on some website or some, and then you can just put in your search term and find the book or whatever. So much more efficient than learning that. So no, Chaos Reign saying there's no shortcuts. That's a goddamn lie. Continue on.
They monitor these kids constantly, okay? They know what they're talking about. Look at the studies, okay? Don't believe us.
Source.
Right. Yeah.
They study this
We
stuff,
don't have a
okay?
lot of studies on AI. We
Yes,
don't have a lot of
yes you
Yes,
studies.
you
do.
do.
Yes,
Oh
you
my
do.
No,
God, are
No,
you
no,
no.
serious?
Chaos, calm down.
I'm talking
Yes,
about as far as kids are concerned.
yes, they do.
How?
Yes.
Okay, tell me then. What
Uh
studies
oh.
have we found about how
Go, go,
AI affects kids in education
go back and look.
correlation?
Ultimately.
Go back and look at the flipped classroom, okay?
No, hold on. Let me continue
And
listening.
and from 2005, go back and go look at that, okay?
The
Start with that.
flipped classroom.
Flipped classroom, 2005, right? I've been following this stuff since '95.
Can you give me the
Right.
conclusion? What was the resolution? I mean, the
Okay. In other words, what the flipped classroom says is that you can use automation and computers and take the lecture out of the classroom, right? Put it on put it on computers and actually have them look at the lecture and come in and put tutors and the teacher with hands-on, okay, time with the kids. Okay, what the kids are lacking is hands-on time with the teacher. That's the biggest differentiator between education. In private school, you get more hands-on time with.
Yeah, but that's not AI though. That's not AI. Well, not AI specifically. Do I want to nitpick here? Um, so then the question becomes: is a video about a lecture playing on the screen? Is that automation over? You know what? Yeah. Uh, eh, eh. Is it? Is it? Is it replicating human behavior? Um. It could go. I don't know. I don't know because it's not. It a machine isn't actually doing the lecture. I guess you could do that. Well, no, because a human actually still have to author it. It may be human speaking, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I guess I'm kind of nitpicking. Let's just say I don't know. Let's just say for the sake that it's automation. I still need to see a source, right? You got to do better than a flipped classroom in some school somewhere. I need a so I need give me at least one source. Because if he's claiming it as facts, then yeah, I need a source. He told me to look it up. I'm no, you don't get to claim a source, claim things as a fact and tell me to go look it up. That doesn't work. I have no doubts that he's telling the truth. It's just because that doesn't tell us anything. How large was the class? What was the variables? I don't know why I'm even arguing this because I don't really care. But the argument, his specific argument that AI makes people dumber, that I need to see a source on. And besides appeals to old school teaching, which is appeals to emotion, I actually need to see a source on that. That's just not going to not for me.
Teacher. That's the biggest difference. Okay.
yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that hands-on versus computer-based instruction. I'm not talking about
And,
that.
and okay.
I'm
And
talking about
go ahead.
specifically teaching curriculum, but
How?
finding a way to use technology to infuse into the system as a tool
You
so
can't.
that students
You,
can
you,
master things at some level, but the computer takes over at another level. That's what I'm saying.
and the thing is, how do you actually develop the human mind? Okay.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about. Okay.
What
Hmm.
Now,
Mhm.
how you
what
can
is
do is
that?
generative AI, right? Individual instruction, where the student
Okay.
and take.
Oh, you're in and out, Bubba.
He, he just trying to hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, you went
Yeah,
in and
trying to
out.
hear you.
In,
Okay.
in other words, basically, uh, go back and if you look at like Star Trek, especially with I forget what movie it was, where you have the little modules and have the AI actually teacher actually in front of the student, actually going questioning them back and forth, asking them having them write shit and stuff like that. You can do that and replace the teachers.
Oh, Star Trek 2009. That was the Kelvin timeline, first one.
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay. Replace the teachers that way. That's what's going to happen. Teachers will actually get replaced by AI.
Yeah, teachers will eventually get replaced. I'm just saying, if we have
We have
somebody,
that today though. Well, it's not in schools. Let me take that back. Google has let me see before I start running my mouth. What's that? Learning your own way. Own way. The hell is it called? Give me a second, guys. This is a specific catchphrase for it. What the hell is it called? Keep blanking on this shit. And the moment I end the live stream, it comes all the way back. Um, guided learning? No, no, it's not guided learning. Matter of fact, I should start using AI in the classroom with Gemini. No, it's not guided learning. That's and Google for Education is completely different. It's not the same thing. It's a whole different service. Um, I gotta come back to it, guys. Matter of fact, I may do a learn your own way live stream on this because I want to see what I can and can't do. And of course, I can't fucking find it. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. But yeah, it's a new. I think it's still in beta. It's a new learning service, um, or AI based service with Google. Uses Gemini on the back end, and you can uploading documents. You can have it create videos, um, audios, slides. Same thing with Notebook LM for some part, but there's other things that you can also make real time adjustments. So you can have kind of like your own catered or specific educational or learning plan for yourself. You do the same thing with Gemini, but this is a whole different service. Is a lot more in depth. I think it's learning your own way, or something like that. Um, yeah, the
teach
tools are there.
people
You just
how
got to
to
use.
use AI as an enhancement to what you're trying to create, whether that's at your job or something like that. I just think there's some value in that.
I agree with Made that you don't have to. You don't need to replace teachers with AI. Like you can use them alongside. I would actually probably prefer that. And especially we're talking about kids where they, uh, where they're probably getting more out of uh, personal interaction, as opposed to just being isolated and self study. Um, yeah, I'd probably prefer that for kids. But like when if like teenagers, that's like, yeah, I don't want to be here. I just want to get the stuff done as soon as possible, especially the state mandated stuff that I don't give two shits about. Use the AI tools. I mean, they already have. Florida has like the virtual high school, which is completely free. Which I wish they had that when I was in school. Damn it, I needed that. Um, which is basically self study, online study, uh, stuff of that. And then you're talking about like the AI tools on top of that. Yeah, it's just much for me. It would be much better than sitting through a lecture for an hour or two and hoping that you memorize a whole bunch of stuff.
There
And
is.
this model that we have is just not working. This rote memorization and this textbook based bull crap
Yep.
regurgitation.
Yep.
It's
Rote
just not.
memorization is
It's
good.
not
It's
spatial.
not
It's not,
working.
man.
It
That's
is.
not
Yes, it
good.
It
No,
is.
it's
is.
That's what
not.
I'm learning. I'm learning language like that. Okay, writing it down.
No. So rote memory works. Rote memory works. Now, as far as I think May said she was a teacher. No, I don't think she's saying rote memory doesn't work. Rote memory absolutely does work, but it's kind of like your level one sort of learning, right? We all learn using rote memory. You rehearse things over and over and over and over and over again, or you write it down 100 times, or you do the flashcard things a few hundred times, right? Eventually you'll get it if you study, right? If you apply it to your brain, it sticks at least till exam day. And if you don't touch it after that, it goes away, which happens with most topics in high school um, and in college, right? If you don't use it, then it just evaporates. It's just not going to stick. But no, it's great for exams and stuff like that. But for actual learning, um, sure. But if you have a passion for something, you're going to learn anyways because it's just going to stick because you're going to be constantly reviewing it, constantly building out those branches. But again, that's still rote. That's still rote. And in a world where you can learn by reference. And what do I mean by learn by reference? How are you learning if you're deferring something? Well, if you're okay, so let's say if you don't know anything about how to program, but you know how to prompt, right? You know how to install Cloud Code or or Gemini CLI or OpenAI's Codex, right? All of these are coding agents. I don't know how to code in Python. I have no interest in doing so. Or I use lovable.dev, right? The more you roll around in the mud with prompts, adding features, taking things out, and the more you look at that code, it's going to stick. So you're learning as a byproduct of dealing with prompts and looking at that code, not looking at the code to make adjustments, but looking at that code just as a byproduct of prompting, it will eventually stick, right? You're not intentionally trying to repeat it in your mind, like, this is how I do a for loop. This is how I create a class. Um, you know, you put enough time into it, you will eventually uh, learn the material as a side effect. Why is that better than rote learning? One is much more efficient. Two, you're not just stuck with Python. AI tools enable everyone with access to said AI tools to use all programming languages, just like your language translator on your smartwatch, smart glasses, and/or your smartphone enables you to communicate in all, or not all, in most foreign languages, with the exception with the super duper rare ones that you're never going to come across in your life anyway. So who cares? Um, it's just it gives you opens the door of being able to create more things using different languages. Same thing with MCP servers. So now we talking about AI tools and MCP server, which is just basically an agent that calls an API for the most part. Now you don't need to learn how to use Blender. Now you don't need to know how to know the Git commands. All you need to do is communicate to the agent. I want to uh, upload. Use the word upload my project to GitHub, right? And then you let the agent figure out when you say upload, you mean push, um, and all of that stuff. It'll figure that stuff out for you. So now, yeah, you have all these abstraction layers, and yes, that does come with its own dangers, but you as a layperson have access to the same tool chain as professional developers, and you can create your own apps, and you're not dependent on any other developer. You're still dependent on the tool, sure, but you pay your $20 or whatever, and then you could do what the developers do for the most part. Um, so yeah, or I mean, you could dedicate your life to being a software engineer, and you know, or to one language or a few languages, but that's just not That's not the meta.
Down, rote memorization is actually vital to your tools. Okay.
That's I'm telling y'all that's underdeveloped in the
No,
brain.
it's not. No,
It
it's
has so
not.
much more
No, no, it's
capacity
not.
than
No,
that.
it's
It has
not.
so much more,
No, it's
so
not.
much more.
No, it's not.
We could be so much more. Y'all want us to stay in this like primitive state, and I'm
Okay.
telling y'all it's just not.
Hook yourself up to the AI with the stems and do it.
What? Why do we? What? I BJS is making the point. If you're going to use AI tools, then if your goal is efficiency, might as well maximize the efficiency. But the problem why that's a false equivalency, BGS, is because there are other risks, biological risks that come with using probes and augmenting with AI tools physically, as opposed to just using a tool separately. That's why. I understand the point that you're trying to make, though.
You're going too far future.
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
what
no,
I'm saying.
no.
No,
You
they
said
doing that
Okay,
now.
here's
I'm
an
saying
example.
no, 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 no. You actually want to reach your potential, right? That's your potential, merging with your technology.
You need
You
some raw
don't have to.
material.
You don't have to go that far. You don't have to. It will be an option in the future, but you don't have to. Yeah, no. Uh, some people just want to be efficient. They don't want maximum efficiency. I guess that's the way to say it. Um, Maximum efficiency. Well, maybe it. I don't know. That's a different argument though. Whether it's using a pro versus a separate tool is more efficient than that. That has yet to be seen. But yeah, no. Some people just want to be more efficient, not maximum efficiency. I don't want. I don't want a probe stuck up my ass just so I can not have to study math. I'd just rather. I'm good with the calculator. Thank you. I get both of their points. Like May's like, yeah, no, I don't want to go that far. I just want to be I just want to have access to be able to do things I want. I don't need to be a fucking cyborg around here.
First thing, let me stop.
Okay, here we go. Let me try this. Trigonometry. Did this brother he did trigonometry?
Hmm.
Is this the brother that did trigonometry? He dropped.
No, he did
I'm still
trade.
here.
Yeah.
That's you. Okay. So you did trigonometry. God bless your soul. But
Mhm.
trigonometry. All right. No, maybe let's do calculus because that's more complicated, probably.
It doesn't matter. Your point still stands, May. Your point still stands whether we talk about real analysis, trig, linear algebra, calculus. It doesn't matter. Your point still stands. That there are calculators, there are professional commercial grade calculators that cost thousands of dollars that can do any workflow you throw at it, and we can research workflows because we have AI tools to do that. How do you, well, Kenny, how do you know what workflows to look for if you don't have any experience? You can ask for what are the workflows for this task I'm trying to accomplish. You can ask the AI tools for that. Now, again, are AI tools perfect? No, they still hallucinate a good percentage of the time. It's not 2023. It sounds crazy that I'm saying that, right? The bots of 2020. This is not 2023 where uh things hallucinated left and right, up and down. It's like how many R's are in the word strawberry? That was actually last year, I think. But yeah, those days hopefully they're over. But no, you can research. How do you know what to look for? Research. Ask the bot. What happens when you're asking the bot for everything? I become more efficient. Well, you don't want to rely on the bot too much. Why not? Why not? I use the internet every single day. I use electricity every single day. Use the car every single day. So making the distinction that you shouldn't use it as a crutch, that's an emotional argument. I'm going to be as efficient without, again, the probe, me integrating probes in my body or whatever. Beside whatever, short of that, mine is short of that. I'm going to find the workflow that's most efficient. That's not evasive on my body. That's the point May is trying to make, and it's a good argument.
Did
Why
trick.
would? Oh, you don't want to do calculus, baby.
No, calculus
I
is
don't.
not
I'm
going
not.
to.
I'm not. I'm just using it as an example. I'm just using an example. Okay, so let's say this person spends 4 years trying to learn calculus somehow, some way,
Mm-hmm.
trying
Mm-hmm.
to approach it.
See, this is why I know the point she's trying to make. The problem may, and I haven't seen this part. The problem may, if you're in college and you're learning calculus, you have a passion for it because you're not going to get 4 years or 3 years of calculus and you being in a job and not use it. Well, let me take that back. Let me take that back because I had to have 3 years of calculus and I don't use it at all. Okay, let's see what May has to say. But no, normally if you take it 4 years of calculus, you're either a math major or you're going to be doing something where you're using calculus on a daily basis in the workplace. Usually, there are exceptions. Computer science. Computer science, by the way, is not a software engineering degree. That's completely different. Computer science um, is a rich man's applied mathematics degree. That's it. It's a math degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they studying, they're going through all this brain grueling and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got this AI machine. You can put the same formula
Mm-hmm.
into that AI and it can give the answer without
Okay.
having to go through
Okay.
3, 4 years of learning all these formulas and your brain struggling. It can do it instantly.
But the argument is going to be made. Again, I haven't seen this part, but I already know they're going to say, well, that cognitive load is what makes you a better mathematician, right? No pain, no gain.
And so I'm saying, how many of us use calculus? How many of us use trigonometry? How many of us use even algebra? Stop wasting human brain and energy doing
I
stuff
agree
that
with
a
you.
computer can instantly put out in
I
2 seconds
agree with
flat.
you.
And you don't
She's saying the same thing. Learning by reference. Just defer that shit. Just defer it.
have to
Why
waste
struggle?
years learning it.
Okay.
That's not for everybody. That's only for the people who are at the fifth grade reading level any damn way. They wasn't gonna make it.
Well, how do you know what to ask the computer?
Ask the bot what to ask. Because B just made this point before. How do you know what to ask? Ask the bot what to ask. How do you know what to ask the bot to know what to ask? Ask the bot. Ask the bot. I don't know. I don't know what to ask, but ask the bot. If you know how to talk and you know how to think, right? You don't need critical. You don't need critical thinking skills. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Uh, how much critical thinking skills do you need to be able to form a question? I don't know. I'm not an educator or psychologist or anything, but ask the bot. Ask them.
If you can't break down the problem.
The same I put a post up early and it's full of formulas. If somebody gave
No,
I
no,
said
you don't know which
Yeah,
formula to apply because you
I
need
don't know
that
what the hell
knowledge
that stuff is.
beforehand.
Ask the bot.
no, you don't.
I don't know what that stuff is.
Yeah.
Ask the bot what it means. That's the answer. Ask the bot. I don't have any clue what these these what looks like Greek letters and this math equation or expression that only has letters in it. What does it mean? Go by letter by letter. I don't know what it means. What do they mean? And then you send in a screenshot. It'll tell you. Ask the bot.
No, exactly. We do. We actually took the
Exactly.
class. Okay.
You don't need to take the class to ask what calculus workflow or what calculus formula or formulas. Where's the formulae? Formulas to use in your workflow. Ask the bot. Make life easier on yourself. Ask the bot.
You don't know
But if
what.
somebody gave me a formula and said, "Hey, solve this formula,"
Ask the bot. Please ask the bot.
I could put it
Do
in
you
a
know what? I
format.
mean,
The
okay,
formula is
you know
actually
what?
there to
Explain.
actually solve a problem. It's not there to give me this solve a formula. The formula is already solved. Okay.
Right.
Well, whatever it is you're doing, it can do the process. Okay, so let's say I give you guys a number,
We're cooked.
2,700, 2,750
Hmm.
times 3,750. Give me the answer right now, BG.
Ask the bot. Ask the bot. Don't waste your time doing math tricks. Now, before LLMs and before calculators, well, maybe not before calculators, but there was a time where I really what they was called Vedic mathematics. And it's neat. It does a lot of tricks on how to do math a lot more efficient. I'm over it. Ask the bot. Matter of fact, you don't even have to ask the bot. You got a calculator right there. I don't care. I don't care. Well, if you knew how to do it mentally, then you could shave off. You could solve it in 10 seconds versus 15 seconds. I don't care. Ask the bot or punch it in the calculator. I'm not wasting time doing mental mathematics when I can ask the bot or use my calculator. Sorry, no.
You don't know it, but the machine does. You see my point? Don't waste
We
time.
we can get to that answer after after a small amount of time. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Pushing
nothing.
your pencil across a piece of paper,
Okay.
Yeah.
carrying the dots, and it's all wasted time. It's not
Yep.
efficient.
And you may even be wrong because humans commit human errors. So you can do things the old fashioned way and write your little pencil on the paper. And I'm going to do this the old fashioned way and you still may be wrong because human error. Use the calculator.
Actually, we just see
What?
this is a problem. See,
Yeah.
you're talking about math, but math. What's more important in math is how you get to it's your processes
Yeah.
because it's the answer is supposed to come to you if you go through the process. So
Yes.
nobody knows what it's going to be.
Who cares about mathematical intuition? Ask the bot. Ask the bot. Ask them. Of course, since the bot isn't always right, there are tools to check it. Again, mathematical based development tools like again, I should be getting paid as many times as I've plugged Wolfram Mathematica at this point. How do I test this to ensure correctness or show your work to assure correctness? If you don't know calculus, then asking it to check its work is probably going to be useless. You don't know what the fuck you're looking at, anyways. How do I apply or how what do I need to type into Wolfram Mathematica Online, which is a free tool, to ensure that this answer is correct? Ask the bot.
On the other side. You just go
Save
through the
yourself the
process.
pain.
Yeah. And the
That's the
pro
reason why
and
the
the,
teachers.
and
Oh, go ahead.
the process is actually apply to other things. Okay.
Exactly.
Like rote memorization, right? Say for learning words. Okay. Which you have to learn words anyway, right? You can't learn them automatically. AI can't do that for you, right? Also applies to actually learning formulas and learning other things. Okay. How to
Hmm.
memorize stuff. Okay. How you put things in your brain. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you recognize what the application should go to? Say if you with this, it how to draw, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Now, starting to sound like those digital artists started bitching and moaning when Midjourney came out. Ask the bot. Like, and I know I'm saying that a lot, but there's going to be a time where and it's not far off for animation, like 2D animation, 3D animation. Forget about presets. Forget about MCP servers, like the Unity MCP server, the Unreal Engine MCP server, the Blender MCP server, the Maya, and the what's the other one? Anyways, the MCP servers eliminate the complexity, right? They eliminate the need for you to learn that application, which in and of itself takes time, right? Just ask the bot or just query the agent, and the agent will ask the bot and to get a response. And not only will it get a response, it'll actually do it for you. That's the whole point of the MCP server. Um, so we're 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 getting to the point to where some people see it as being dumbed down because you don't have to invest hundreds of hours or tens of hours or hundreds of hours or thousands of hours into a certain skill. It's going to be who's creating um, rich content, rich being subjective, of course. Uh, what workflow you're using or workflows. Could you imagine? Could you imagine before you even get a job, you have to have like 3 or 4 MVPs, MVP SaaS applications. You have to have an established YouTube channel with like a million subs or whatever, just for you, just for you to get an interview. Like you have to create all of this content and have your hands on all of these different buckets that you just cannot do. Well, I guess you could do if you dedicated a whole bunch of your youth to learning these skills, but um, just for you to get in the door for like an interview and stuff like that, because they want to see that you're competent in not just one skill or two, but 20 or 30. Can you use this bot? Can you use this API? Can you use this MCP server? Can you talk to this agent? If I gave you this workflow and you don't know anything about linear algebra, can you build me a neuron from scratch? Just using researching tools and making your own somehow. Can you do that? Right. So the skill set is going to be in a generalist and not a specialist. I've never liked the idea of being a specialist, anyways, because going back to the lawnmower man, like once your specialty has been obsolete, now you have to learn a new specialty. So
How to automate this? Okay. You
Mhm.
recognize the formula inside the inside the process. Oh, I know what this is. I've seen this before. If I
Hmm.
use this formula in this process, I can actually get the same effect. Okay.
or you can ask the
Same
bot.
thing when you um, uh, do math on doing trading, right? Okay. If you're using what he called a double wing eagle, right? Which is two calls and two puts on both sides, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. He used math for that. How do you actually calculate that? How do you recognize that's what you need?
Ask the bot.
Mhm.
Ask the bot.
And you know what? I'm not against what you're saying. I
Hmm.
think when I talked about earlier, the elite brains, those who are going to go into engineering, those who are going to go into astrophysics, I agree that those brains need to be developed from scratch.
How do
There's
you know who?
value.
No, they
How do you
don't.
There's
know who?
value in it.
How do you know who those people are?
They need to be tracked and identified. We talked about that the other day.
It's,
Tracking.
and people
Now
don't
we're
always
getting this.
emerge at the same rate.
Yeah. Now we're looking at
Unfortunately, they
standardized
don't
testing.
care about that.
They do care about that. They have to care about that.
I'm giving China, for example. They have these series of tests, and you either
They
pass
do.
or you don't.
Yeah, but with these kids are 18, 19 years old. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they always have secondary schools that develop these kids. They don't
They're
just throw them
tracked
away.
too. They're tracked at the younger ages, aren't they?
I know they are trying to young age, but things they always have a way to actually pick up kids that they miss.
Well, that may be something that we need to do in our system, but we have really gotten away from. We've gotten to this point. I'm just talking about modern American education
And
system. We're
I
not
know,
ready,
I know.
and we have gotten so close to everybody gets a trophy.
Yes, that's
Even to
feminism.
the point where
Oh.
even
Ooh,
to
that's
the point
feminism.
Oh,
where
you just
when
answered your question.
I know, I
That's
know,
the
I know, I know, I know,
American
we
education
I,
system. You
I
said
know.
we
trophy.
had a we had
Calm down, chaos.
a award ceremony at the school, and my daughter
Hmm.
got all A's,
Hmm.
and it's to the principal. What's it called? Principals list or something. I had to go to
Hmm.
the principal and the teacher, and I said, I need some. This feels good. This is great. It looks good on paper. I need you to tell me if this is real.
Hmm.
That's how we have to do now. We have to actually ask because we don't trust that they just want to get self esteem. They just want to make kids feel better. Everybody gets an
Mm.
award.
Interesting.
So this is the problem in the school system. We got to let go of these
I-
good feelings. If somebody's
Interesting.
not smart and somebody's dumb, you're dumb, and it's okay. There's a job for dumb people. You know what I'm saying?
They should be given the
Wait,
same
wait,
Well,
education.
hoping.
They should be given the same education as everybody else, held to the
See,
Exactly.
same
here you
standard.
go. Here you go. There
No,
you go.
Hex has just said the exact same thing
They're
to y'all.
wasting time.
Can I finish what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, you agree with me or not? Hex has just said the same thing to the military, right? Okay. Fuck all this woke shit. Meet
I
the
knew you didn't
make the
compare that.
make these people meet the standard. Okay, that's what Donald Trump is saying. Make these people meet the standard. Okay,
Hmm.
Uh,
that's how come your Ivy League schools are failing. They're not meeting the standard,
Yep.
and you're not educating kids to actually pour into this school anymore. Most of these kids actually coming up from these elementary schools can't meet the standard. They actually even get into the goddamn school. They have to lower the standard to actually get kids in.
yeah, but one of the things that they did is they stretched the school system out. They did that for money purposes and they wanted to expand it like big government. And that's why I keep saying they need to shrink it down. They
You
really
know,
do. Yeah, they wanted to put
but
them.
college. Okay, that's what happened.
Well, the
Overplay.
majority of
Now that I think
go
about
ahead,
it.
go ahead,
And,
go ahead.
and now I think about since 1996, BJ's when that document was laid out, it makes sense why college skyrocketed with the
It's got
inflation of
with,
college.
with inflation, the poverty, the schools started charging more because that's it.
a
Oh,
dozen
let's skip
Yes,
ahead.
yeah,
and they had a lot of their brain power leave the country to find jobs elsewhere.
yes.
Mhm.
You got oversupply.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to disrupt, but Theo Walsh, he said in my class I give the same education to both low and advanced students. I challenge that. I do. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Well,
No,
he
he
gets
no
good
No,
no.
money.
actually, Theo
Hey,
is
hey,
right
hey.
because he teach. He does teach, so he's
He
actually right in that.
he
Yeah.
actually apprentices people. The
I
thing
don't
is,
care
yes,
about any of
yeah,
this talk.
It is a
yeah,
backstop.
and they beat it into your head until you learn it.
Yes,
Yeah,
through rote memory.
through rote memory, through a whole bunch
Yes.
of stuff. Yeah, through a whole lot of ways. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we spent okay, like I never went to war, but I'll be damned if the whole time that I was in that MOS, we spent damn near every day doing that over and over and over and over again until it was like the back of our hands.
Yeah, that's what Theo does. Yeah.
Yep.
See, again, they're making the the they're they're doing the whole since rote memory works, and it does work. No, rote memory is going to work, especially if you're forced to learn it. Yeah, it works, but the problem is that yeah, since we know it works and it's tried and true, then it's the best way of doing things. No, it's
These are
not.
the things
It
that you need to
doesn't.
know to actually do your job. Uh,
It doesn't
memorize
work
this
in the
and
economy where people
practice
are
this
using
and cut all
tools,
the other stuff
and you're
out.
over
That's what
there
it
trying
does.
to memorize things like a
Theo, can
dumbass.
I get an invitation for one session just to watch?
No.
How you
That
gonna
would have been
answer
my
for that
answer
You,
too.
man?
you
I
can't.
researched a little bit since then. Peach Hegseth they have a video of him. He can't even do a push up. I mean a pull up. And then you see what Trump
I think we may be
mixed up
done
with
with
this
the AI
somebody
talk.
else.
Look,
Why? You're not
ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission.
Oh, so I don't care about this stuff. Okay, all right, guys. So that was. They may be talking about it later. I have to look through the transcript. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You made it to this point. Please hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Go to BGS's channel, the Master Teacher Responds. Give him a like if you can, or dislike if not. Um, Comes out with great material. Um, I, I wanted to do this live stream because it is an important conversation that is going to affect everyone, right? So, what happens when AI takes your job, and what happens to the layperson, and if they're not willing to upskill, or if they can upskill, what happens then? So it's definitely an important conversation that we definitely should be having, and it'll definitely affect us, everyone in the future. Thank you guys so much, and you all have a wonderful evening.